Welcome to another episode of Couch Coach the Podcast, featuring an all-star staff of the best to never do it. Without a couch, you're just a coach. Without a coach, it's just a couch. With both, you're one of us. Remember, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and if you got some shit to say, leave a comment. And now for your first Couch Coach, we have the one and only Mr. 500. Mr. Bountiful Harvest, the world's biggest Nico Collins fan. And rumor has it, he doesn't live in a gated community, but he does live in a community with a gate. He's a man of many names, but you can call him Johnny.
And I just got traded to the Lakers for a sandwich.
Sounds like somebody else we know. And for your last Couch Coach, we have yours truly, founder of Omnipresence Productions, co-founder of the Couch Coach Pod. Some call me Akira, some call me Commissioner, but you can call me Kuji. And now in this special Pro Bowl episode, Johnny, we're going to start with my favorite segment, Fourth and Goal. A winner-takes-all trivia showdown where two Couch Coaches enter, but only one is crowned victorious.
And we kill the other one.
Yeah, let's do best 3 out of 5. I don't want to do that off one. I don't like the odds.
Yeah, okay.
But best 3 out of 5.
All right, yeah. Well, let's say the first 1 to 3 in a row survives.
Because that's what happened to the other Couch Coach, right?
We killed him. Yeah.
Because he lost. So now it's between
Yeah, we've been pretending he was missing this whole time, but he just died in the gladiator ring.
After 3 more episodes, we'll know which Couch Coach is left standing, and then this will be a one-person show going forward. But I'm ready with my 10 questions, Johnny. Are you ready with your 10 questions? And by that,
I'm ready with mine.
Are you ready for my retribution? Because you ended my chance of a three-peat last week, but it's okay.
I had to survive. I had to live.
We're going to get it rolling again. I'm going to start. Actually, flip your coin. You got a coin.
You want me to flip the coin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. I got it right here.
Cash,
okay.
So I can flip my
Padre
card.
Pio. Padre Pio on the front. Pray, hope, and don't worry on the back. What are we thinking?
I'm the loser, so I get the pick.
Of course.
Tails.
All right.
Never fails.
That's heads again.
You're a liar.
We can do it again. You want to do it one more time?
Nah, I trust you. I trust you.
One more time?
Roll with it. Do you
Wasn't
want
a great flip.
Do you want to kick the question, or do you want to receive the question?
I want to receive the question.
You want to receive the question. All right.
Of course.
Question number 1, Johnny. You have 30 seconds from the moment that I finish asking the question.
Understood.
Who holds the record for the most career safeties? Now, a defensive player, not safeties occurred against, safeties forced. Now, there's 4 of them that have the record. They're tied. You can name any one of the 4, and I will give you credit.
Thanks, man.
Starting now.
Can I ask what the number is? Like how many safeties it is?
It's lower than you think. It's 4 safeties.
I was gonna say it can't be a lot. I figured it was single digits.
You're on the clock.
I guess we just want to go like career sack leaders, right? That's probably who we want to go with. Career sack leaders. Maybe, I'll do, man, I don't love that. Let's go. Say Reggie White.
I was about to say I gave you 5 extra seconds. Reggie White, final answer?
Reggie White, yeah.
So you had Ted Hendricks. I wouldn't expect you to guess that.
Nope, I don't know who that is.
You had Doug English. Wouldn't expect you to guess that either.
I think I've heard that name at least.
Jared Allen.
Jared Allen.
And then we also recently, Justin Houston.
Justin Houston. That's a weird group. I mean, Jared Allen's the only one that like makes sense to me. That's interesting.
Yeah, Jared Allen would have been probably than my guess. I've seen him get 2 of them. So
Yeah. No, I had no idea. Like I couldn't even picture like people who have gotten safeties. So I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna go for who got a lot of sacks. I'm like,
but all right, hit me with it, Johnny. I'm ready to take the lead.
all right. Which NFL team
Yep.
had their name chosen by a public competition? And this is not this. I will eliminate one right now, just so there's no
I
confusion.
know what you're gonna do.
It is not the Commanders who they did put it up. They let the public choose something. They were like vote on something, but they didn't listen to it because the Commanders, they let the public vote and they chose the Washington Red Wolves, and that didn't happen. So so that doesn't count. This is a team. They currently still have the name.
Yep.
And time starts now.
So it was chosen by fans, but a public like competition. Okay.
Yeah, there were over 1,000 submissions for their choices, and it was voted upon. They still have the name.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna have to, just based off what would make sense. The only NFL team that's owned by fans, I gotta go Green Bay Packers.
That is a good guess. Sound logic, not the answer. Not the answer, unfortunately. That's sound logic. I'll give it to you. No, it is the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh wow!
Was voted upon in a public competition. I didn't know that.
I should have known that because honestly, when they first came, like when they made those new uniforms, it looked like those create a team in Madden. And you know how they give you those 3 different options for names, and they have all the fan approval. So yeah, I should have figured.
So that was it. Yeah, I'm like, and I think that like makes sense in the sense that like I feel like the public would just pick the one that like sounds the nicest. Seattle Seahawks. That's nice. It works. That's a good name for a Seattle team. But I was saying the Seahawks. It's a nice sounding name. Like Seattle Seahawks. That's a nice sounding name. I don't know if there's a team that rings that well. Like that, just the 2 names, the city and the team name go together as well as Seattle Seahawks in the NFL. I mean, that's just a great one.
It's one of the better names. One of the better names. But question number
Wisdom
2.
of the crowd.
Question number 2.
I'm ready.
What team? Now you only got to name the team. I don't need the number. What team recorded the most sacks in a single game? On the clock.
The most sacks in a single game. Man. That's tough. I'm going to say oh my God, that's crazy. I'll go with Falcons.
Falcons final answer?
Yes.
With 1 second to spare. But you are incorrect. It is not the Falcons.
Dang.
You were in the right family. It is a bird. It was the Philadelphia Eagles.
Dang.
Who had 14 in 1952 versus the New York Giants, and they won 14-10.
In the 50s. That's crazy. I thought it was more recent because I was thinking more like I was like trying to remember on like the single game sack leaderboard, and I know there's a Falcon that's high up on it. It's either he had like 6 or 7 in a game, and I was like, oh, if one guy had that many, but I can't remember who it was that has the single game sack record. All right, scoreless so far. Some real AFC North football. All right, what NFL team has the longest season ticket wait list? Starting now. And I'll say that it is standing right now at a point where you could wait up to 100 years before you would get season tickets to this team.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
The only one it can be Dallas Cowboys.
That's a very good guess.
I was between that and the Patriots.
It's also a good guess, but not correct.
No, who is it? Hit me.
It's really crazy because this team is barring their owners from even buying season tickets. I mean, that's the Green Bay Packers.
Really?
Yeah. I think it must have to do with the age of the franchise as well. That there are people who have held on to season tickets for so long.
Then none come
But
available.
yeah, they have the longest season ticket wait list in the league.
Wow.
At least according to the source that I've pulled this from. But
well, I wouldn't have guessed. 0-0. Question number
0-0.
3. Question number 3. Who was the first tight end in NFL history to record 1,000 yards receiving? You're on the clock.
oh, I think you've asked me this before.
No, I haven't.
I think you might have asked me this before. Is it Kellen Winslow? Kellen Winslow. Final answer.
I'm going to say this, Johnny. You have 20 seconds. Do you want to... Is that your final answer?
Is it no? That's not it? Okay.
Is that your final answer?
I mean, it seems like you're trying to sway me off of it. I mean, how game theory are you getting on me?
I could just be helping you out. You got 5 seconds.
Oh, man. Let's go Shannon Sharp then. And if you swayed me off of it, I'm going to be really pissed off.
Well, it is Mike Ditka.
I wouldn't have guessed Ditka, so that's
He had
fair.
1,000 yards. He was the first NFL tight end in history to get 1,000 yards, and he did it in his rookie season in 1961.
Yeah, I would not have guessed Ditka, so I'm at peace with that.
Ooh,
I was like, oh, maybe it was later than I thought.
you might go to double overtime.
Might. I know. All right. I had an easy one written down, but you've literally said the answer. We've mentioned the answer 3 times. One of my really easy ones was which team doesn't have an owner. No, it wasn't that. It was what is the name of the Packers owner was the question. And I'm like, oh, well, we've literally just talked about this a million times, so I think I really have not. So if we get down to the last question, that will be the question. Okay. What team holds the longest? And I will stipulate. Currently, the Dolphins have the longest active playoff win drought in the league. But what team has the longest all-time? So not active currently, but holds the longest all-time playoff win drought. Time start. I'll give you a hint.
New Orleans Saints.
Is it your final answer?
Yeah.
That is incorrect. Unfortunately, incorrect.
Okay.
This drought lasted only 9 years less than the New Orleans Saints have existed. New Orleans Saints have existed for, or I guess 59 years. They were formed in 66. So 59 years the New Orleans Saints have existed. This was a 51-year drought by the Arizona Cardinals from the year 1947 and 1998. They did not win a playoff game for 51 years. I think that's why you've never met an Arizona Cardinals fan. It's because nobody could wait that long.
Didn't win a playoff game, or since their last playoff win?
They did not win a playoff game,
but they made the playoffs though.
Yeah, they could have made the playoffs, but they didn't win a playoff game in 51 years. Is the longest drought.
Okay. 0-0. It is some real
still 0-0.
some real AFC North football.
AFC North football.
It's going to be at least 7-7 because 2 of our questions have been revealed. If we get to that 10th one now.
Nice. Oh yeah, the Dolphins. Which one has the longest active? That's funny.
Anyway, question number 4. Who is the only punter to ever be inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Wow, that's a good question. I only know, I think, one punter. And I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. Yeah. I don't know if I know another punter all time.
All right. I'll give you a small hint, and you're on the clock right now, by the way.
Yeah.
He has an award named after him in college.
A college award named after him?
A collegiate award, yes.
Yeah,
he does.
I mean, punter of the year. I don't know. Can't be the Heisman. That'd be funny. This is the Heisman's named after a punter.
That'd be hilarious.
I have truly Heisman. That's who it is.
Is that going to be your actual guess?
Yeah, why not? I got nothing else, man. I have no idea.
You're going to guess Heisman.
Heisman.
Okay. If that's what your final guess is going to be. It is incorrect. His name is Ray Guy.
Ray Guy.
Or some people like to call him Rayman.
Rayman.
You already know. Anyway, 0-0 still. This is actually the longest we went without getting a question right.
I know.
In the entire history of this game. So anyway,
this is wild.
Johnny, what is my next question?
Right? Okay.
Let's get the scoring going.
All right. I do have a couple easy ones that I'm going to backload. So okay. I have a handful of easier ones. I've just been front loading the harder ones.
Because I might only have one easy one.
Okay, here's an interesting one. I learned this. I found this fascinating.
What's up? Talk to me.
What common NFL tradition do the Cowboys not observe? So this is a thing that almost every other NFL team does, but the Cowboys don't do it. Starting now.
Oh, they don't wear their dark colors at home. They wear their white jerseys.
That's a good one. That is technically correct. That's not what I have written down. That is technically correct.
How much time do I have?
I'll give you another 20. That is technically correct, but no.
Okay, well
I'll give you a 1 point safety if if at the end we just have no answers or
they
tied.
Play on Thanksgiving, so that's a tradition they do observe.
Yeah. No, this is something that pretty much every other team does. There's actually one other team that also doesn't do it quietly, but I think it's more interesting to point at the Cowboys not doing it.
They don't wear breast cancer awareness?
Is your final answer?
I don't know. Sure. I have no clue.
This one's interesting. I didn't know this.
What other
traditions and I found this out. What
other traditions are there?
It's maybe the word tradition might throw it off a little bit.
Okay.
It might maybe. It's like not a rule. You don't have to do it, but like every team does it, except for the Raiders is the other team that doesn't do it. They don't retire numbers. The Cowboys don't retire numbers.
They haven't retired Emmett's or
they don't do it. No.
That's crazy.
They don't retire numbers on the Cowboys.
That's some Cowboy shit.
Yeah, very weird.
Question, and we're at 0-0. On a technicality. Question 5.
Yeah. On a technicality, yes. Because you did answer it correctly, that they wear their white jerseys at home. That is technically true. The Cowboys are the only team that does that. But
all right. Question number 5. So Cam Newton holds the record for the most career rushing touchdowns by a quarterback with 75. Who is in second place with 65 career rushing touchdowns?
It's good. That is good. Cause all right, so I guess you would be between Lamar, Vic, Steve Young, probably. And I would say I'm gonna go Lamar Jackson.
You get 10 seconds. Final answer?
That's my final answer.
All right, Lamar Jackson, final answer. Lock it in. You are incorrect.
Fuck.
Actually, it wasn't any of the options that you thought it was. It quite surprised me as well because I was almost made the question who was the most. But then I saw number 2 and said, I got to go with that one. Josh Allen. Josh Allen.
Really?
At 65.
Wow.
I had to give the boy some props. I had to give him some credit.
Wow. That's crazy. It's another thing people don't talk about with Josh. I always feel like that nobody ever gives him credit for how healthy he's been in his career. Because I've always said that. Like, no one gives him credit for that. And I've never heard anyone give him credit for he's number 2 all time in rushing touchdowns. That's crazy.
I never knew. I had no clue.
Wow. That is nuts. I can't believe that.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Johnny could get the first donut of the year.
Let's see.
Let's see what we got.
Okay. Here's another interesting one. I don't know if you'll know this, but you might be able to venture a guess. It's interesting. An interesting piece of NFL history. Okay. So where did the Chicago Bears play from 1921 until 1970?
Like what city or what is the name of the field?
Not the city, but the stadium / field that they played on.
The stadium / field.
Yeah.
So that's so tough because I know one of the names of the stadium, but I feel like
it's not Soldier Field, obviously. This is pre-Soldier Field. It's interesting. This is an interesting little piece of lore. I will tell you, you know the name. This is a name you're familiar with. A place that you are familiar with.
This is
a place you are familiar with.
Okay. All right. I'll take your word for it. Place I'm familiar with. Where'd the Bears play? It's not Soldier Field. I'm just going to call it Bearfield, I guess.
I'm just going to ask one more time. Where did the Chicago Bears play? Think Chicago. I'm being nice, so I don't want us to go to a 0-0 overtime. So I'm giving you just a little.
Hold on.
A little something. Think Chicago.
United Center.
No.
Oh, Wrigley Field.
Wrigley Field. Yes.
Damn it.
Wrigley Field. Isn't that interesting? They played at Wrigley Field before they went to Soldier Field.
I can't believe I picked the basketball arena before I picked the baseball.
The baseball stadium. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? They played I guess it's a 0-0 OT.
0-0 OT. I should have held off my first guess and thought about it for 2 more seconds.
Wrigley Field. Yeah.
All right. Actually, this is going to get real tough for me if I don't get one of these ones right soon. Question number 6, the first question of overtime. Hopefully the last on my behalf. What quarterback has thrown the most interceptions in a single season?
Jameis Winston.
Johnny, I haven't even started the timer yet, but I know you have at least 25 more seconds. Do you want to have that as your final answer? And don't let recency bias take effect. Think about
just like
the history of the league.
I know. I'm like, did Favre throw more than 30 in a season? Like, because I'm like, I know if I'm like between anything, you go like, all right, Manning threw 22 in his rookie campaign, I think. That's not like, I know or 28 maybe. He threw a lot, but I don't think he threw 30 in his rookie year. And then Favre leads the league all time. Man, I thought it was like historical when Jameis threw 30. I'm gonna go Jameis. I just feel like I know you said don't let recency bias, but I don't know if you're trying to get to me, so I'm just gonna stick with it. My gut said I felt like that was a historic moment when Jameis threw 30, but maybe it's just because he also threw 30 touchdowns.
Johnny, I promise. That's your final answer?
Yeah, I'm sticking with it.
I promise you, I'm a good dude, Johnny. The answer is not Jameis Winston. The answer is George Blanda, the Houston Oilers.
I didn't. That's not even a name I know, so I'm okay with that.
He threw 42 interceptions.
Holy shit!
He's also a Hall of Famer.
Wow, good job, George Blanda.
I know that name, but I probably wouldn't have guessed it.
I've never even heard that name. 42. My God.
So Jameis was so historic because of the amount of pick sixes he also threw as well.
Right.
But also 30 touchdowns.
And 33 touchdowns, I think was the total. Or yeah, it was the first 30 and 30.
Yeah, 30-30.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. George Blanda. Okay. All right, I got a little fun one. Let's go. And I was gonna go nicer, but now I'm just gonna make you guess. Which I'm gonna do whether you have to guess on. There's no way you know this.
Oh, don't underestimate me.
Which team had the first fully televised season?
You're gonna make me. You think I'm gonna guess on this one? Like I don't know. Television records.
There's no shot. If you just know this, there's no shot.
I want you to count down from 10, Johnny. Pause your timer. Count down from 10 for the people, and I'm gonna give them the answer.
All right, I'll count down. Ready? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It was the New York Jets.
Unfortunately, no.
Oh man,
It was
so
Washington.
I'm sorry.
Washington racial slurs.
I'll let you guys
were
down.
The first ones. It would have been impressive. I was watching your glasses. I was like, I wanted to make sure your screen wasn't moving around.
Nah, come on now. I wouldn't do people like that.
The Washington racial slurs. Pretty good.
Yeah, that's actually insane. Maybe
Ever since they changed their name, I don't feel comfortable saying it anymore. Like, I know it's like you get a pass, but I just don't. I'm like, now that it's not a team name, you can't say it at all. It already was weird enough saying it. Now It's like you can't. It's not even a team name anymore. An NFL team had a racial slur as their name until 2021. It's just
supposedly
so
they might be trying to get it to come back.
Yeah, Trump's America. I wouldn't be shocked. All right, back to you, boss man.
Back to me. Question. I forget how deep we are, but overtime. Another question. What quarterback has had multiple perfect passer rating games in the same season? Now, there have been two. You only have to name one.
Multiple in the same season. All right, I'm just going to go Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers famously doesn't throw a lot of picks.
That man that you don't like?
Yeah, I don't like him, but he famously does not throw picks. That's it. That's his claim to fame. So if anyone would have pulled it off twice in a season, it'd be the guy that could go a whole season throwing 2 picks.
Man, I thought you had this one too, Johnny. It is Ben Roethlisberger and Lamar Jackson.
Really? Wow.
Ben Roethlisberger did it in 2007 4 times. Lamar Jackson did it in 2019 4 times.
Wow. That's crazy. No, I did not know that about Ben. That's crazy. Good for him. Good for Lamar, too.
Good for both. Yeah, AFC North.
Yeah, AFC North excellence. What can I say?
Just like this trivia.
That is such a weird 2 dudes to have that, to hold that record. It's such a weird group of 2 guys to hold that. I would just never, if you let me guess if you let me do 10 guesses, I don't think either one of those names would ever come to my mind.
If I gave you 10 guesses, you wouldn't have named any of those 2.
I don't think so.
Damn.
Because I don't think of either of those guys as like perfect passer rating guys. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know. Been through a reasonable amount of picks, and Lamar, like, I've seen him have a perfect passer rating, but I'm just like, I don't know. I guess I just don't think of it that way. Interesting. Okay.
Oh yeah.
They're going to get progressively easier on my end, so just get ready for this.
Yeah, I agree.
Who is the first team to add an insignia to their helmet?
You mean a
So
logo?
like the logo on the helmet.
This man said insignia. I've never
Insignia, logo.
All right.
Because I say insignia because it might not necessarily be the logo. It could be something that is on brand with the team, but not necessarily the actual logo on the helmet, Steelers style. It could be like something like a secondary logo or something like that.
Okay. I'm gonna go.
You know what? We're down to the wire.
Rams.
I'll give you this.
Rams.
I didn't even need to give it to you. You were correct.
Wait, was I really?
The Rams. They were the first one to do it. That's why I said insignia, because it wasn't their logo. They put horns on the side of their helmets.
You want to know what's
Well earned. A well earned.
Let's go.
6-0 victory in overtime.
My next questions were gonna be super easy. I needed that. You know what's also crazy? The Rams. I only said the Rams. You know why? Because I had like 4 names in my head. The Rams weren't one of them, and I could feel the time running out. And you know how you start, feeling the pressure, and you just throw out. I threw out the Rams and immediately said, "Wait a minute! Like that wasn't who I meant to say." Like how you hit a button on the game system and you get the kill, but you hit the wrong button. Like that's what it was.
Or it's when you like throw to a receiver in Madden, you press the wrong button, and you're like, "Oh my god, I meant to hit B," and it's just wide open. You're like, "Oh, I'm a genius, actually." Ooh. That's my subconscious mind pulling the trigger for me. That's cool. Yeah, that's crazy. No, my next 3 questions were. You already know one of them was what's the name of the Packers owner? Answers don't have one. Another one was what are the Baltimore Ravens named after? I think that's somewhat common knowledge, right? Do you know that one?
Edgar Allan Poe, the Raven.
Yes. And then what is the NFL's newest franchise?
Well, it depends on if you mean physical team or if you mean like just based off name of where they relocated to.
No, yeah, like physical, like team created. Not like change the name, but like team created.
Well, it's either gonna be Houston, the Seattle, or Jacksonville. But Jacksonville goes to the 90s, so it'd be Houston or Seattle. I'd probably have to go with Seattle.
No, it was Houston actually.
Wow.
Seattle's a little older.
It was Houston. Okay.
Seattle's a little older. Yeah.
Yeah, I had Houston. Who won NFL MVP in 2018?
2018, that was Tom Brady, right?
Pat Mahomes.
Pat Mahomes was 18. Oh, so 17 was Brady? That was the year it was Brady versus Gurley. Was 17 then? Or I guess, or are we saying like 2018?
Possibly, that would coincide with this next question I was going to ask, is what was the lowest scoring Super Bowl all time?
That would have been
that year.
What would have been that Super Bowl? Yeah. So Brady, Gurley, or for the Rams, Patriots. Yeah. I probably would have guessed that.
And then I had my last question: what team has the longest active playoff streak? And then what made it worse for me with what you asked was I clarified it, and I said not by number of games, as there would be 2, but by number of seasons since the last one. And it was Miami Dolphins. Haven't won one since 2000. They've made it 6 times, lost every time they played. Do you know who the other one is?
The next one after
not years, just based off straight games in a row.
Like how many like have gone to the playoffs and lost how many
games in a row.
Is what you're saying?
There's another team that has tied the Dolphins with 6, but it's been in far fewer years.
Oh, you're saying okay, tied the it's the Steelers. Yeah. I thought you were saying like I thought you were doing like a years thing. Because I
was for the question, but like there's 2 if you don't go based off years and you go based off of active
just
streaks.
Games lost, right?
Yeah, because the Dolphins have only won 6 times in 25 years. You guys won 6 times in like 9 years.
Yeah, actually, right, exactly.
Almost every year, basically, except for the years you're 500 and just barely miss it.
Right. Yeah, I think we missed it in 2018. I think we missed it, and that was like the last year that we had AB, and then we missed it the Mason Rudolph, Duck Hodges year, and then we missed it one other time. I think we missed it Kenny's first year. Like we had a winning record, but we missed it with Kenny's first year. I think those are the 3. I could be misremembering that, but yeah. I mean, that's the thing though. I've said it once, I'll say it again though. I truly do not believe that there is a single coach in the NFL who could have had no losing season. Like never having a losing season with how bad of quarterback play we have had post 2018. I'm like, I just don't think that's possible. I don't know if any other coach could have done it. Like even Andy Reid or Bill Belichick, I don't know if they actually could have done it. I think Mike Tomlin might be the only man that was capable of dragging some of the worst quarterbacked teams to the playoffs or to a winning record. At least a non-losing record, as many times as he did. I just go, how about we don't judge Mike Tomlin's future until he has a quarterback that is universally considered like slightly above league average, and then maybe we can judge him. But like
right,
until then, like the best we've had is like on the lower end of league average. That's the best we've had. Like a veteran who's way past his prime. That's the best we've had in Russell and Big Ben in the past like 8 years.
Right.
A vet past his prime.
It's kind of his fault that he had that vet past his prime. But we'll get into that in a second because Johnny, check this out. In our next segment. Oh, by the way, for y'all people, I won. Mark that down.
You did win.
Three-peat is coming back. The 3-peat is coming back. But check this out, Johnny. In our next segment, Instant Replay, we get behind the booth for when our viewers need coverage on the biggest sports stories from a different angle. And now we got the first one. I know you've been excited about this one, Johnny. We have a big trade between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Dallas Mavericks. As you mentioned, you were awake when this happened. I was not. I woke up from my sleep to this. We had the Lakers receiving Luka Doncic, or is otherwise known Hookah Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris. Dallas receives AD, Max Christie, and the Lakers' 2029 first-round pick. And not to be forgotten in all this big trade, because we had to get in the headline somehow, the Utah Jazz.
Jalen Hood-Schifino. What a guy.
The Utah Jazz receive Jalen Hood-Schifino and the Clippers and the Mavericks 2025 second-round pick, which means we were there. We were there. We were at the party. But were you really? Yeah. Do you have any stories to tell?
That's the funniest part of maybe this whole thing that no one's talking about is
why
that the Jazz...
need us?
Well, not even that, but like the Jazz front office like kept this a secret. Like the Jazz heard about this. Like they were like, "Hey, like we're trying to trade Luka Doncic right now. Like we're trying to pull off the most insane trade ever, and like just please be cool about this. But we need you to take Jalen Hood-Schifino to make it work."
Before we let you give Danny Ainge too much credit, he did say earlier today he had 30 minutes to make a decision. For the moment he found out that Luka was involved in the trade. Now he may have known there was a trade in the works. He probably was talked to about the trade, but he didn't know that he was involved in the Luka trade until 30 minutes prior to it happening.
Interesting.
Which is really crazy because they just say, hey, you're not going to get anything back, by the way. We just need your help to do something else. We're not going to tell you. But regardless, Jalen Hood-Schifino, future young phenom for the Jazz. Him and Cooper Flag going to light it up next year. What are your early reactions, John, with that? Who won the trade today? Who won the trade 5 years from now? And if you want to go 10 years from now, who won the trade then too?
It's the Lakers, and the Lakers. That's easy. That's not even a question. We're a few days out from this trade happening. The aftershock is now over, and I've been sitting with it for a while. And I said to you day one when this happened, when it happened, my first thought was the only way that the Mavericks could get out of this and not look like complete morons is if they know something that the rest of the league doesn't know. They know something, and I'm not saying this is true. Just for the record, I don't think this about Luka. But what I am saying is the only way that I would even be like, okay, you were right, Mavericks, is if they know Luka did something unforgivable. That he's got some skeletons. And they go, there's a limit to how long it will take until this becomes public knowledge, and we need to separate ourselves from him entirely as fast as possible. And we can't put him into the news cycle, and we can't do any of this. We need to just ship him out in the dark of night and wash our hands of this, because we're going to walk away with nothing if we don't, because no one will touch him otherwise. That's the only, and I don't think that's true. But that's the only way this could have made sense to me because of how stupid it was. Across the board makes no sense whatsoever to even go, okay, I've been doing a lot of research on compensation for trades for stars in the history of the NBA for a segment that we're doing later. I just want to remind people what other players have gotten in return for being traded. Like Rudy Gobert, for example, was worth 5 first rounders. Mikal Bridges was worth 4 or 5 first rounders. These are dudes that are pretty good low-end stars, but not franchise-altering, top 10 potential, 5-time All-NBA team, first-team All-NBA guys who have who just took you to a finals a mere months ago. I don't buy. You could never convince me that this is because of conditioning. I'm sorry, you just can't. I'm not going to allow that, because the Nuggets don't seem to be too concerned about Jokic's conditioning. Who cares? Who cares about what his measurables, his BMI, and his weight on a scale is when he plays? It is obvious he's one of the best players in the league, if not the best. And he's 25, and he is just ascending and getting better every year, and has not even hit what is considered your NBA career prime, which is for most people 27 to 31 range. He's not even close to that. To trade him in the dark of night for not enough compensation, even close. Anthony Davis is a great player. Anthony Davis is fringe top 10 in the league, but on the back end of his career, definitely in the third phase of his career now, very injury prone, and is not a long-term option. To get him plus 1 first round pick and a handful of role players, for a guy who legitimately might be, when it's all said and done, a top 10 player all time. That is not an unreasonable statement. He's on a LeBron pace right now as far as scoring. It's like I can't even fathom it, let alone like, why wouldn't you have at least shopped him around? Like, you just went to the Lakers in the middle of the night really quickly, so quick that no one in the Lakers organization outside of Rob Pelinka and the ownership group knew about it. You moved him without anyone finding out, and it was only to the Lakers. And I would have understood if Luka had requested a trade to the Lakers, but he didn't. He didn't request a trade at all. So what was this even for? I'm not a conspiratorial person, but this is crazy enough to make me go, oh, maybe this is some like David Stern shit that they're doing. Like, where David Stern would puppeteer the league and like make things happen that would be good for TV ratings. Like, it could be like, that's how crazy this is to me, where I'm like, it is either that the Mavs know something that we don't, and that there is something about Luka that the public doesn't know, that they wanted him out immediately. It is B, the league orchestrated this in the middle of the night, and when we are going to send one of the biggest stars in the league to the Lakers because we don't want the Lakers to be doo-doo garbage, because they're our biggest product. We need them to be good. We need them to have a superstar. This is going to happen. We're just going to do this, and it will get us eyeballs. Or C, the Mavericks front office is the most incompetent, stupid front office that has ever existed in the NBA or maybe professional sports. I don't know. I've heard, I don't want to yammer too long. I've heard people like throw out other ideas, like what if they'd approached Houston, or what if they'd approached San Antonio, or what if they'd approached OKC,
Celtics.
even the Celtics. Like, there are teams that have so much capital, draft capital, and players, guys that, like, you're telling me straight up, if it is we are concerned about the future of Luka as a player, you're telling me the Celtics wouldn't give you straight up Tatum for Luka? Like I don't know. I think they might. Like, I mean, maybe not. Maybe they just want a championship and they're doing their core.
At least Jaylen Brown and somebody else,
or something like a younger guy. A couple picks for Luka.
I do want to, for the people out there, I do want to clarify any comments on Luka. No accusations, just all speculation. He is a friend of the program.
I'm not. I am not saying. Yeah, I am not saying that I think Luka did anything bad. What I'm saying is that the only way this would make sense to me is because it was such a bad trade. He is such a good player. The value you got out of it was not even close to worth it. You could have gotten a haul of picks plus a handful of good young players from the Rockets or the Spurs, and walked away with a actual future to be built. And if you had said, hey, look, we just don't think that Luka's the future, it'd be one thing. But it's like, you set yourself up to build your franchise around two guys that are both in their early to mid 30s. Like, if you don't win a chip in the next 2-3 years, you do not have a contingency plan. What are you doing? Like, it has to be something personal. It has to be something like Nico Harrison hates Luka, or like Luka fucked Nico Harrison's wife, or I don't know what it is, but there is something deeper to this.
From players around the league saying that the Mavs must really hate Luka to do something like this. But you're not buying their reasoning of defense wins championships.
No, if that really is their reasoning, they're stupid. They're really dumb. They're a really, really stupid, dumb team, and they don't know what they're doing. And you literally got this close to winning a championship and only lost to one of the most stacked rosters in the history of the NBA in the Celtics. Like, I'm a Knicks fan. I don't like to give the Celtics credit for literally anything, but like, that roster top to bottom was so insanely stacked. One of the deepest rosters I've ever seen. That I didn't really think anyone had a shot against them. So you were right there. The guy is entering his athletic prime. All of his problems are mental habit problems. They're not like these are not problems that can't be addressed or fixed by good coaching and keeping good people around him. Like, these are not problems that he wouldn't decide to fix eventually once he got sick of not making it over the hump or feeling like he's coming up short. Like, if he actually is a competitor, like I think he is, I think eventually he would probably say, I need to take my conditioning more seriously. I need to stop. I need to cut out tobacco. I need to cut out beer or whatever. And you know what I think is going to happen now is you are going to find Luka in the presence of not only the player he modeled his game after, his favorite player growing up, but also the peak form of strength, conditioning, and physical health in LeBron James. And you're going to tell me that Luka is not going to learn a lot about keeping his body healthy and in tip-top shape and conditioning it and reaching levels of longevity? He's not going to learn that from LeBron now? Like, I think...
And he's going to be pissed.
And he's going to be pissed. And this is a guy that gets pissed. It's not like... This isn't like Jason Tatum, who doesn't get pissed, or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who doesn't get pissed, who's like maybe fakes it a little bit, but you don't see the real rage in their eyes. Like, no, this dude Luka gets actually angry, like, on the court. Like, that's the one thing you say. The three best players in the league, they are dudes that actually can get blood in their eyes and get really angry. In Luka, Giannis, and Jokic. Like, we've seen it. We've seen Jokic. I mean, man, you saw him truck. Who was it? Markieff Morris or Marcus Morris? The guy he just Marcus, absolutely
you
laid
saw
out.
Giannis the other night with Chris Paul.
Yeah, Giannis is like a dude that you do not want to scrap with. That's a scary man if he's angry.
He literally said to Chris Paul, he goes, I'm not the one. You're going to bring that different side out of me.
Yeah. Chris Paul trying to scrap with Giannis with the Greek freak. Crazy. I don't even know why you would try that.
If anybody would, it'd be Chris Paul.
This is a legitimate... If we're just operating knowing what we know, and we're going to assume that there is no other context and that the Mavs are telling the 100% truth, that it is just, we don't see him, we don't feel comfortable offering him a supermax because he's not in good enough shape and doesn't do enough defense, then this is one of the most insane betrayals of the best player to ever play for your franchise. And I'm saying that knowing that Dirk Nowitzki played for this franchise, and Luka is better than Dirk ever was. Like, oh, yeah. As far talent-wise, not, greatest or longevity or all this fun stuff.
And Dirk was surprised, too. Mark Cuban was surprised as well.
Mark Cuban, who had been quoted saying, I would leave my wife before I would trade Luka Doncic.
Yep. But he has no control anymore. He did sell his little piece that gave him control. Not to forget, guys, not to get lost in all this, Maxi Kleber and Markieff Morris are not bad players. Like, those are two solid pickups for the Lakers as well.
Yeah. Solid get minutes role players. Yeah. So I can't even wrap my head around it, but this is going to, I think, end up being the best thing that's ever happened to Luka. I think it's going to be the best thing that's ever happened to him. I think it will.
This might be what changes that whole mindset, the whole habits, especially being with LeBron. I mean, if anybody, can keep him healthy, can keep him with good habits, it's LeBron James. I agree with you, though. Lakers won this trade by a mile. They won it today. They won it 5 years from now, 10 years from now. They have their next player. They didn't have a plan for after LeBron. They had AD, but people questioned if he could, do it. So now they have that. Lakers are must-see TV right now. I'm telling you what. I'll be there watching. Not there, but, I'll be watching Luka's debut. This shit's going to be crazy.
No, it's really crazy. The interesting thing I had heard somebody say was the Lakers only have about 6 to 8 years in their entire history where they didn't have a top 10 all-time level player on their team, or like one of the greatest of all time on their team. Whether it was Wilt, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, those guys, Magic and Kareem going into eventually having Karl Malone on the team, having Shaq and Kobe, and then LeBron. Like, there were only like a handful of little chunks of Lakers history where they don't have one of the best players ever on their team. And now you've gone LeBron, and it will transition to Luka Doncic, who, like, I mean, it might sound like we're getting ahead of ourselves, but he's really that good. Like, he really is that good.
Is. And then right after Luka, they got Bronny.
Yeah, of course, Bronny.
I think that's another thing. It gives those players, those young players like Kenneth, like Bronny, time to develop, because they're not going to be needed the second LeBron leaves, to just step in and all of a sudden take on massive roles. But not to be overshadowed, Johnny. We got some other NBA trades to get to.
Of course.
Soon after that, long time coming. Seems like every year for about 4 to 5 years now, Zach LaVine is in the trade headlines. About a year and a half, 2 years. De'Aaron Fox also been in the headlines. Well, we have a trade. The Spurs are going to receive De'Aaron Fox, Jordan McLaughlin. So now we have De'Aaron and Wemby, and CP3. Don't forget about him. The Kings received the haul. They got Zach LaVine. They got a man by the name of Sidi Kisako, if that's how you pronounce that. They also got a 2025 first-round Hornets pick, 2027 first-round Spurs pick, 2031 first-round Timberwolves pick, 2025 second-round Bulls pick, 2028 second-round Nuggets pick, and a 2028 second-round Bulls pick. I just want to point out there, they got more for De'Aaron Fox than the Mavs got for Luka. But carry on. The Bulls also received Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, and then they received their own 2025 first-round pick back from the Spurs. So what are your reactions to that?
There was one season where Zach Collins looked like he was going to be really legit, and then just was like, "No, just kidding. I'm a bench role player. That's what I am. I'm going to stick to it." In Portland, yeah, it was like one season where Zach Collins, it looked like, "Oh man, is this guy is this a dude?" And I was just like, "No, I'm good. Actually, I'm just gonna go back to seventh man on the rotation. Actually, that's more my speed." The best way I saw this phrased, and I've never seen a more lateral move than Zach LaVine just going from Chicago to Sacramento. It's like, cool, I guess. Like, you're on a slightly better team in a slightly worse city. Like,
in a way harder conference.
Yeah, at a way harder conference. I'm like, I just don't think that's gonna move the needle for Zach LaVine's career. Like, Zach LaVine needs to get into like a Bradley Beal type situation when they moved him to the Suns, where it's like you're the third guy on a team, like on a team with two other superstars, and you're the third guy. You need to be a Chris Bosh. Like, Zach LaVine is a Chris Bosh type player. He's not gonna be the guy ever, and it's just funny. He needs to get to a situation like that. But the best way I saw this whole thing phrased was by Rachel Nichols, who said that De'Aaron Fox got the opportunity to be the first guy to try out to be Wembanyama's number 2. To be Wembanyama, the guy with Wembanyama. If we're all assuming that Wemby is, and I think we're assuming that Wemby is going to dominate the league at some point. He is on a perfect ascent to doing it. The team's building around him, all of this. The next thing that has to figure out is who is he going to do it with? Who is his Kobe or his Pippen or his D Wade or Kyrie, whatever? Who is it going to be? And I liked how Rachel Nichols phrased it. Fox is the first guy getting a tryout. And I'm like, who better, though? I think that's a great fit. It's a dude that can space the floor and slash, moves really quick, that will, if the defense decides to key in on Wemby, then Fox will be able to abuse that. And if they decide to key in on Fox, Wemby will certainly abuse that. I think it's a good compliment. to one another, and it'll be really interesting to see. Plus he's a clutch player. I mean, he's a extremely clutch. He's a guy that you could put the ball in his hands in a tight game at the end. Wemby has that, I think, as well, but it's just a different skill set with Fox that I think translates better to that point in the game. So I think it's as good of a pairing as you could get, aside from maybe if the Spurs could have traded their entire roster except for Wemby and got Luka, but the Mavs weren't interested in that, I guess.
No. Or they could have got Steph Curry.
Yeah, something. No, I think Fox is really cool, especially where you still got CP3 there. A guy that can teach a handful of extra little lessons to Fox, who's still a really good leader, who's seeming to have a positive impact on Wemby. I think it's a good move. Good move by the Spurs.
I mean, if Fox was good with Sabonis, he's going to be even better with Wemby.
Yeah. So I like it. I mean, do I think De'Aaron Fox is that high of a level to really push the team over the edge and make them into a legitimate contender in the West? No, but I think that he is. He could be the best player that Wemby plays with for the next 3-ish years. So he has an opportunity to go. If he is ready to defer to a guy that everyone assumes is going to burn the league to the ground eventually, if he's ready to defer to him and be the number 2 guy to that, I think it could work out really well. We'll just have to see how that looks.
Yeah.
Zach LaVine, I'm indifferent.
Zach LaVine, I feel like it's a win-win trade. I mean, I don't think losing De'Aaron Fox is a win. But they did get some stuff back for him. I don't think LaVine's terrible by any means. And I think Sabonis is going to step into that number 1 spot over there. You think he can be a number 1 in this league? Lead a team to a chip?
No.
No?
No. Not even a little bit.
No Sabonis love over here?
No. I mean, it's fine. He's a fine player, but no. Hell no. He would be maybe out of all the number 1s that exist in the league, if he is a number 1 on his team, what is he, the 28th best number 1?
He's behind Lillard.
29th maybe? Yeah, no. I mean, it's not ideal. I think right now I would rather have Cade Cunningham. Right now, for one game, I think I'd rather have Cade Cunningham as my number 1. I think right now, one game I might rather have Scotty Barnes or something. And I don't know who the number 1 really is on Toronto, but I guess we say Scotty Barnes. I guess we could say, is it RJ Barrett? Who is their number 1?
Bro, who's on their team? Toronto's a mess.
It's IQ, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes. Who else is there?
Oh, Boucher.
It's not Boucher, yeah. Or I think it's actually Boucher. I don't even think it's Boucher. I think it's Boucher is how it's pronounced.
Is it Boucher
or Boucher, actually? I think it's Boucher. Yeah. I mean, them, and then Portland are the 2 real, what are you guys doing? What is this team? What are you actually doing? Portland thought they had something in Scoot, but it just wasn't. Scoot, everyone thought he would just instantly translate, and nothing.
No, not yet. He was going to be their next Dame.
Not even close.
Not even close.
But yeah, I mean, he could do worse, I guess, than Sabonis technically, but the Kings are in a shit position. They have 2 guys that have kind of reached their ceiling in LaVine and Sabonis. We know what they're capable of, and it's a 9-seed play-in team.
And they fired their coach. They fired their coach 2 months ago.
Yeah, that team, I think, needs to blow it all up completely. You got to go when you're looking across. You're looking across the league or your own conference, and you're looking over at OKC, who is sitting on still a mountain of draft picks and has a roster full of dudes, and their oldest player on their roster is 27. as far as like getting playing time player is 27, and you just go, oh, okay, they're gonna have a stranglehold on this conference for the next 5 to 10 years. Like, we have to copy what they did. If like, because nobody is going to OKC by choice. You're only getting there by trades or draft picks. So it's like you have to, if you're a team like Sacramento or Portland or lesser so Portland or Toronto, but like these teams that you're not going to convince people to move there in free agency, you have to do these insane moves like OKC did. And now it looks like OKC is just going to dominate for 5-10 years because of just how ridiculously set up for the future they are.
And the Clippers let that happen. They gave up.
They really did. They gave up Shea and every pick. Every pick. For an old Paul George. I mean, my God. And Luka got a 32-year-old man plus 1 pick. That was what Luka was worth. I'm not trying to poo-poo Anthony Davis. He is like a top 15 player in the league, inarguably. He's great.
You don't get him and say, you know what, he's the guy that's going to lead us there.
No one sees him as that. Like,
that was the big issue with the Lakers. LeBron tried to give him the keys.
You put two number twos on a team together who are both in their early 30s. Like, I don't know. You put 3 number twos on a team together. You have Kyrie, Clay, and AD, Clay. All guys that could never be the number one.
In their
and
30s.
You put them, and they're all past their prime, and they're like, let's do it. We are the island of misfit toys. We're the sidekick gang that are all gonna team. It'd be a cool story if they pulled it off.
Well, it's crazy too because I don't know if Clay signs there without Luka, and I don't know if Kyrie re-signs without Luka.
No,
like in the past, like they don't even go there without Luka. No,
that has to shake your commitment and your trust in that organization for them to be able to do something so cold, so abrupt, and so short-sighted and dumb.
Oh, it's one of the only trades in history where nobody outside those two people had any idea. No leaks, nothing. Not even Shams. Shams thought he got hacked.
They say never attribute to malice what you can attribute to incompetence. And I go, I really hope. I don't want to believe that an NBA franchise can be that incompetent. Like, I don't want to believe that. I want to believe that it is malice, that they hate Luka, or that they hate Luka. But then it's like, why trade him? Once again, if you hate Luka, why trade him to the best place he could go? Like a place that he will be beloved forever.
I would have sent him to Charlotte.
Right, send him somewhere terrible if you hate him.
The Wizards.
Or send him somewhere that you get like something good in return. But it's like, why did you send him to the Lakers and get like... Anthony Davis is good, but that is not worth what Luka is worth. Luka is worth more than that. Period, end of story. Luka is worth more than that. Yeah. So, I don't know.
No, period, end of story. And more trade news. Johnny, today, as of this morning, Myles Garret has requested a trade, citing a desire to win and compete on the biggest stages. Do you think that he gets traded? Where does he go? How does this impact the Cleveland Browns draft plans if he does get traded?
So the Cleveland Browns are a dumb organization that makes dumb decisions. And the smart decision for them would be to trade Myles Garret and get as much as you can, because you could trade him for realistically at least 1 first rounder, but maybe 2. You could really, and this is for a team that gave up a lot of their first round draft picks, and they're going to need them. You know what I mean? You gave up a lot of your future in acquiring Deshaun Watson. Like, you need to go into full rebuild mode, and it's not fair to your franchise cornerstone to keep him around through a process where you are not going to be able to compete. The smart and the nice thing to do would be to trade him and try and get something good out of it. But they're a dumb, incompetent franchise, and I kind of think that they're going to drag this out. especially where the owner has already gone on the record and said that he doesn't want to trade him and that he's going to keep him and he has no interest in trading him. It's the wrong move, but I think that's what the Cleveland Browns do, is make the wrong move. What about you?
Yeah, I think they'll drag it out too. I saw that he said he was not gonna trade him, or didn't want to trade him, and that they're open to re-signing him. And so him leaving is not for lack of a deal if he decides to leave. I think they should trade him though. Honestly, you might be able to get. It's tough with those top picks when there's a year with not a lot of quarterbacks, but I would try to trade him to a team that might pick a quarterback, but also has one that they could keep for now, like the Patriots.
Yeah, or
like
trade
something
him
like
to
that. Like get two first round picks this year. That way you can get a quarterback and still get a pass rusher to replace him.
The two most interesting ones I've heard are the Commanders. I've been hearing that one a lot. You trade him to the Commanders. It's an up-and-coming team that has a lot of cap space, and they need defensive help. So you put a legitimate top 5 defensive player in the league on their team, and you know that they're going to be competing immediately. Or the other one I heard is the Rams. The Rams like to make big moves. They're retooling their roster right now, and
Cooper Kupp.
Right, yeah, we'll get to that, but they're retooling their roster. They have Jared Verse, who's really good, but they still are trying to fill an Aaron Donald size hole that is missing from their team right now. So I could see the Rams just going like, yeah, bring him over. Like let's get Myles Garret in the mix. Otherwise, I'm not really sure. He's saying he wants to compete for a championship. So the other thing is that I know in the past he has said that he'd be interested in playing for Philly. He has said that he would like to at some point in his career play for Philly.
That wouldn't even be fair, bro.
I don't know if Philly can afford him, and I don't know if that would be so unreasonable to just be like, all right, we have the best pass rush in the league. We have the best front seven in the league. Let's bring in Myles Garret now and see what we can do from there.
Who would they even trade to make that happen? They have to give up something.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean,
that's
I don't
Carter,
think
Myles Garret. Oh,
yeah, he wants to compete. So it's like, what do? Do you go? Maybe. Yeah, it's like the Chargers. He wouldn't fit on because they already have 2 pass rushers. They got Mack and Bosa. The Niners aren't going to have the money for it. They're screwed financially. Maybe the Bills is another one. That could be a sneaky one. But does Myles Garret want to live in Buffalo, New York?
Who does?
But the Bills could be an interesting one. Obviously, they're not going to move him somewhere in the AFC North. So it's like...
No Steelers?
We would love to have him, but I don't think the Browns want to trade him to the team that's bullied them their entire existence as a franchise. So... the Bills could be interesting though, where it's like he wants to compete, like you want to be on a Super Bowl contender. All right, go to the Bills. Like that could be nice.
But he doesn't have a no trade clause though, does he?
Yeah, I know. I mean, right, because the right thing for the Browns to do would be to trade him to a contender, maybe a team that's like on the up and up that might not have the highest draft picks yet. So maybe not Buffalo because they're gonna have top 4 pick for the next probably few years or right around there. I said top 4, I mean bottom 4 pick.
Yeah. I know what you meant.
Yeah. But maybe Washington. Like I don't know if Washington gets back to the NFC Championship again next year. Like they'll still be good and competitive, like maybe not as high. It'd be cool, but so maybe there. Maybe Dan Campbell wants to take a big swing. There are options. Maybe Atlanta. Like there are some cool ideas there. But
that Lions one's actually nice because they've had a lot of injuries. They need someone who's just been there all the time.
And Hutch plus Myles Garret would be merciless. And that's something that Dan Campbell could get behind. That's something Dan Campbell would like. So there are some options. But I think that the Browns are dumb, and they will. I think they make bad decisions, and they're just going to let Garrett be mad at them. And Myles Garrett's a very smart man, so I don't know if I would like to think that he would probably decide to still play because he knows how bad it is to sit out, that you screw yourself financially, and guys that sit out for a long time and hold out, at least of the regular season, it normally doesn't go well for them on the back end of that.
Right.
But I'm very pro holding out until the regular season starts. You just go. I'm not showing up to any team meetings. I'm not going to any optional training. I'm not going to preseason. I'm not doing any of this. If you guys want me on the team that bad, I will see you game 1. But otherwise,
you are not going to team.
Not even going to practice. No, you hold out. Hold out completely until you go to week 1 practice.
Okay.
You hold out for everything before week 1. You hold out. I'm very pro that. Like I'm totally fine with that. But yeah, I think if it was a competent franchise, I think they would just do the right thing and move him. But it's a guy that's only done right by you. That the only time he had any type of mess up was against your arch rival's backup quarterback. And, as far as I'm concerned, that backup quarterback called him the N-word, in my opinion.
Yeah, he got him the nickname. Racist Mason.
Racist Mason. Like, I'm a fan of that team. And I'm telling you, I think Racist Mason said something crazy to him.
I wasn't there, but I think he said it.
I think he said it. Because it was one of the most violent things I've ever seen in the NFL, committed by a dude who's an aggressive player, but not a attempted murder player. Right. I go and Mason's political views notwithstanding, it doesn't help his case. I'll tell you what. So, but anyway, I digress. I think the coolest place for him to go would be Washington. That's where I'd like to see him go. I think that would be fun.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I just don't see them trading him to a contender and getting what they want for him. I see them dragging it on. I do think it was inevitable, though. Mm-hmm. I mean, this has been kind of brewing for a while now. I feel like there's kind of been drama with, like, not outspoken drama, but just kind of in the background with him and that team for a while.
Well, not to mention
but
that.
I guess if there's one team I think would be cool. Maybe the 49ers.
I just don't think they can afford him. Like they're in cap hell right now. They can't afford half of their players in the long term. So
they're about to pay Brock too.
Right, if they pay Brock. Oh man, that would be so stupid. That would be so dumb. You have undeniable proof that Brock Purdy needs the Avengers. He needs the whole squad of superstars to look good. You lost 2 of them. You know what I'm saying? When he's down 2 of them this season, no C-Mac, no Ayuk, he is not the same guy anymore.
Right.
He plummeted. I'm okay if you give Brock Purdy $40 million, give him the Kirk Cousins deal. But like if they re-sign him for like something crazy, I'm just like, you're stupid. You made a bad move. I think Brock's a starter. I just don't think he's like reset the market level starter.
Right, like Sean.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. I think that the Browns will handle this very poorly and drag it out longer than it needs to go. But it would be nice for Myles Garrett to get a new start. Get him out of the AFC North. That would be nice. And not to mention, like, I don't blame him at all because he's on one of the teams that is currently like death spiraling. That like has a death sentence. Has a like you will not be competitive for a few years because of how screwed your cap situation is. It's like it is them. It's the Saints and. You could the Broncos were in that situation for a little bit. Not as long as people thought they were, but the Broncos were kind of seen as in that situation for a bit. But like, I think the Browns and the Saints are just screwed. Like they just where do you go from here? So
yeah, and the reports say they love Spencer Rattler as well. So he'll be seeing the field more.
Yeah, he's probably a nice guy.
But we're gonna move it along, Johnny, because I know it seemed like there was no football this weekend, but there was a game played.
Was there?
Yeah, and you may be familiar with our primetime playback segment. Consider this the annual Pro Bowl playback segment. Johnny, I'm gonna just recap some of what happened. We'll go through a little bit of how the game is structured. This is my first time watching it, as we kind of talked about beforehand.
You do that. I'm gonna pee while you do that.
All right, you do that.
And I don't want this to make it sound like I don't care about the Pro Bowl, but I don't care about the Pro Bowl, and I'm not going to watch it ever again. This is my first time watching it, and I'm not going to do it again. So let the people know what the Pro Bowl is.
Let the people know. So as you guys know, Johnny not a big fan of the new Pro Bowl segment. I did tell him it's a tragedy that he did not watch the Pro Bowl up until they changed the format. Back in the day, it used to be way different. It used to be a little bit better. They messed it up. But for the third year in a row, we had the NFC beating the AFC 76-63. Eli Manning is now 3-0 against Peyton as a coach. MVPs, we had Byron Murphy on defense. We had Jared Goff on offense. Now on Sunday, the way this new Pro Bowl works, it's not just a game anymore. So we had the flag football game on Sunday. Now during the game, we had a bunch of different skills challenges. We had what was called Punt Perfect. It was a punt off. You try to punt into the corner, basically coffin corner punt into some containers. You get points based off that. There was a race, a relay type of race as well, with a sled featured at the end. And then we had tug of war. But then Saturday we had the skills challenge, dominated completely by the NFC. AFC won 1-2 out of 6 competitions max. They had passing the test. Now in that skill challenge, you had quarterbacks trying to hit. Well, it was like little floating boxes, but the quarterbacks had to hit these boxes. They had to get points. Added up all the points. NFC won that one. They dominated. Satisfying catches. This was probably the most interesting one. Welcome back, Johnny. Probably the most interesting one. Essentially, they started off, they had to do 3 one-handed catches. Then they had to make a catch with like these snicker hands. And it was like these big-ass gloves that made it super hard to catch the ball. And then from there, they had to go to a diving catch. And then they had to just run. After that, we had a relay race. The one thing I learned from that, hand the ball off. Both times that a team lost and got destroyed, it was because they did not actually do a handoff. They tried to toss it, get a little extra time or less time on the clock, and it was dropped both times. Helmet harmony. Now this skill challenge basically had 2 teammates. They were asked a question about naming somebody on their team. They had to both name the same person on their team. They did. They got a point. They didn't. They didn't get a point. Hosted by the one and only Terry Crews. They had dodgeball. And they had a spike. They had a spike challenge. So they had this little thing, like you go to the fair, you use the hammer. This little thing that could tell how hard they spiked it, and they just spiked that shit as hard as they could. But the NFC, Johnny, dominated it completely. Wasn't even close. AFC should be ashamed of themselves.
Well, half the AFC sat out.
That's another thing too.
Didn't play.
I'm saying the AFC's got it next year. They have to have an agreement that they're all just going to play for the sake of saving the Pro Bowl.
I don't think there is saving the Pro Bowl. I'll tell you what, folks. This is my first Pro Bowl. Baby's first Pro Bowl. I'd never watched it before. Everyone just told me it sucked. And I went, yeah, I probably believe you. And this year I said, you know what, I'm going to do it for Couch Coach, for Coogee, for all you beautiful people at home. And I regret it. I really do. I would rather watch a preseason NFL game between 2 teams I don't care about than watch the Pro Bowl ever again. I would rather watch Ivy League college football than watch the Pro Bowl in the NFL ever again. I would rather watch a JUCO college football game, or hell, I would rather watch a Pop Warner football game than watch what I just saw on that TV. It's just the best way I've ever seen it phrased was former NFL scout John Middlecoff, fellow podcaster, saying that the reason that the Pro Bowl doesn't work is because you can't play football at 75%. It just looks bad. It just looks like a bad television product, and it does. It looks ass. And I think, honestly, get rid of the entire game. Like, or just do 7-on-7, or find something new with the game itself. But like, you got something fun with the skills challenges. I'm just talking about the actual AFC versus NFC game. It's ass. It's not fun. It's not a good product. I don't want to watch it again. It couldn't hold my attention. I can't believe that about the NFL. Like I said, it's my first time, so I was kind of just shocked. But an NFL game can hold my attention crazy.
Right.
And the Pro Bowl failed me on that one, and it just made me really sad. And I understand why every quarterback in the AFC would just sit it out. Like, I'm not doing this. Why would I do this? Why would I do this? Risk injury in a game that no one cares about, doesn't matter. Like, who cares? I'm just gonna go hang out and I'll see you at the NFL awards.
Yeah, I wonder if the flag football for the Olympics will look a little better than that.
Yeah, I'm interested in how that'll end up shaking out. I'm interested in that one. I kind of wouldn't be shocked if like there was another country that was just randomly really good at it. like
we don't win. Oh boy.
Yeah, like just because it's flag football is weird and different.
Right. Like if it was real like tackle football, then like
we'd run away with it. But like I wouldn't be shocked if just
Nigeria.
Yeah, Nigeria. And I mean Nigeria, like just some random country is just like puts up like Algeria or some like weird Poland just puts up a crazy good flag football team out of nowhere. You're like, damn, like these guys are ready to go. Azerbaijan has a crazy flag football team. They're just monstrous.
Plus, there's going to be the whole argument of, is it going to be NFL players or is it going to be national flag football players that get invited?
Right, exactly. That's the other question. Because if it's national flag football players, then forget it. I mean, all bets are off. Any country can win. I mean, at that point, if they have to go and try to tackle, or not tackle, they have to try and catch like Jamar Chase, it's over. The NFL, the United States of America is going to win that one every time. If we got Jamar Chase and Patrick Mahomes and Saquon Barkley out there, forget it. But if we're running out guys that play in a rec league on the weekend that has a it's their part-time job, they have a 9 to 5. There's no way you can't play in a flag football league and that's your actual career. There's no shot. You have a second job.
You know then they make $100K?
Fuck no. What are you talking about? Have you ever watched a flag football game once? And do you know anyone that ever has? Hell no, they
I didn't know it existed until they talked about the Olympics.
Yeah, there's no shot that's a full-time job. There's no way. NFL cheerleaders don't make full-time job money. let alone a flag football player. No way.
I'll tell you what, if they do make $100K, I should have signed up.
Yeah, let's just it can't barrier to entry into professional flag football can't be that high. If you and I just trained for like a year, we could probably become pro flag football players.
Yeah, you'll have to do that challenge on your own. I'm not gonna, not my mission. No, that's
maybe
crazy.
like
That's what they
we
should
add up.
do. NFL versus the Flag Football League for the Pro Bowl. Because they're gonna want because they're gonna want to win that shit. You don't think all them players, bro? Imagine that, bro. They're gonna come in there like, nah, we gotta beat these motherfuckers. They think they're all that because they actually play football. Like, so they're gonna come in. And do you think the NFL players? 'Cause that's the thing. You get NFL versus NFL, and they're both not trying. But as soon as one side really, really wants to win, do you think the other side wants to just lose?
Do you think that like an NFL Pro Bowl roster? Okay. Who do you think wins? NFL All Pro roster. All right, All Pro first team, but they can only put 10 men on the field at a time, or the best Canadian Football League team. Who do you think wins that game?
What do you mean? The All Pro,
So
all
like the
easily.
All
It's
Pro,
not.
but they can only put 10 men on the field at once.
You don't need 11 men. The quarterback doesn't need to have a person on him.
What?
You
What
don't
do you
need a
mean?
you don't need a person on the quarterback.
Right, but you would still be like
I
you
mean,
are
eventually somebody's got to tackle him, but like you don't need to have a coverage
right.
for the quarterback. You just play a zone shell where you have somebody that can pump off their guy.
Yeah, but then you also are always
And then on offense,
you
you just
right.
a free pass rush all the time.
Right, you've got a free pass rush. You've got an extra. Right, you've got like you would probably do it at the line. You'd probably
Well,
or maybe
I
like at the
guess
receivers, maybe, or you'd lose a tight end, or I don't know.
here's what I'd say. So what we got to do here, it's simple math, Johnny. 10 guys in the field, we're missing 1 out of 11. If we divide one. Let me pull out a calculator for the people. Divide 1 by 11. That's 9%. Do we think that an NFL player is 9% better than a Canadian Football League player?
Yeah, but I think you can't discount how different it would be having a full player missing on. I think you really
some teams do it on accident.
No, they normally have more than one on there. But yeah, like the whole game, and you can switch out who it is whenever you want, but you can only have 10 men on the field. And then like if you think that that's a wash at the All-Pro NFL team, then like what would it be with 9 then? The best CFL team versus an NFL All-Pro first team, but they can only put out 9 guys on the field at any given time.
I'm sorry, bro. All-Pro first team, you got to cut me down to at least 7 or 8. Maybe 7.
7 or 8? There's no way. There's no shot at that
You
point.
really think the best Canadian League team would beat an NFL team if they only had 8 players on the field at one time?
Yes. I do think that, yes.
Because I still think that 10 on the field gives a regular NFL team run for its money.
Well,
assuming you're
like 10 All-Pro versus
10
okay,
a regular NFL team with 11. I think that they still win, so obviously I'm going to take them over Canadian.
Yeah, I think 8. I think you're discounting how bad that would be. 8.
You're discounting how good the All-Pros are.
They are really good, but you're talking about like we can either overpower you every play on the pass rush, or we could we'd always have free rushers on the pass rush, or we could always double your receivers, all of them. Double all of your receivers, or we can rush 7 guys at a line of 3 linemen.
I mean, I'm not saying no. You don't need 1 receiver. You can put 5 linemen still. You just shorten the receivers.
Right, and then you could just go, all right, cool. We triple team the receiver.
5 linemen, 2 receivers, 1 back.
Yeah, but then you could literally, if you went 5 linemen, you're just like, all right, we're gonna.
Oh wait, no, my bad. No backs, 2 receivers, 5 line.
Yeah, so 8 guys. Right, so you just go, all right, we're gonna rush 4, we're gonna double team both receivers, and then
you got all day.
And then we can have like a nice
5 on 4. I'll take that all day. We got 5 linemen.
What? Right. You could rush 4, double team both receivers, have a QB spy and then still have two more guys waiting in a two deep zone.
But you can't cover them all day though, even with two. If I have time, listen. I'm not saying you can stand in the pocket all day. I'm just saying it's possible.
I'm just saying and that's being safe. You could do that, or you could be like, no, we're gonna rush 7 and then double both of your receivers, and then we're gonna see what's gonna happen. We're gonna rush 7 against your thing. I'm just saying,
I'm assuming that these players that aren't in the NFL probably aren't super responsible in their rush lanes.
What do you mean? In the CFL?
I mean, a lot of players rush the quarterback. Not a lot of players hit the quarterback when they rush him.
Right, but I do think there is a level of even if it's
all right, Johnny. High school team, NFL team, all pro team with 8 versus high school team.
High school, I think that's NFL still. That's NFL's gonna win that one,
dude. Canadian football is basically like American high school football.
There's still professional football. There's still professional athletes in the Canadian football league.
That's I mean, basically, that's like the NFL version of go learn Chinese, buddy.
Yeah, it is, but they're still professional athletes.
So you think a team from the go learn Chinese buddy place? I don't know the country. You think they beat an NBA team 5-on-4?
I
No. All
NBA.
I think so. All NBA.
I do think so. Yes, 5-on-4.
You have Luka Doncic, Jokic, LeBron James, and Shai. You think they win?
I think it would be closer than.
Oh my god!
I think it'd be close. Yeah, you're going okay. So you're saying the starting 5 of the Shanghai Sharks versus the
LeBron, Jokic, Luka, and
Giannis, or forget LeBron.
Right.
Go Giannis, Luka, Jokic, Shea.
Yeah.
Versus.
Bro, there's no way they don't even come close.
It would depend, I guess. Who's the starting 5 on the Shanghai Sharks? That's the real question.
How tall is he? All right, fine. The Shanghai Sharks. You have Dylan Brooks. You have.
Oh, it was on the Shanghai Sharks, right? I don't even know if that's a real team, but I think it is.
It's funny how if it's not, we just all made it up to be.
It is. Yes, they are. We're the Shanghai Sharks roster.
Wasn't Dwight Howard on that team? Oh no, he was in Taiwan.
All right, we're going. Okay, this is the team right now. Okay, they have Kenneth Lofton Jr.
Oh, he was on the Grizzlies.
Eric Bledsoe. No, he's or at least
no. Kenneth was on the Grizzlies, not anymore.
Was on the Grizzlies. Is currently on the Shanghai Sharks. Eric Bledsoe, Tremont Waters, DJ Wilson, Javante Hawkins, and then a handful of Chinese players that I assume neither of us have heard of.
I don't know. They got Watanabe on there.
No,
he's still in the Suns with KD. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, basically, it's basically 4-on-4 because that Waters guy, I don't know who he is.
There's a guy, the 31-year-old center from China named Wang Jielin, who is averaging 21 points a game.
How tall is he?
7 feet tall.
Oh, all right. He might be able to do something.
He might be able to.
I don't know.
Wang Jielin, who knows? Anything is possible.
Anything's possible, but I digress because we got some trades in the rank, and in this next segment, Johnny, we're about to get DTF because Johnny and I felt that sometimes you have to get DTF to see the landscape of the sports world. It's time for Deeper Than Film. Take it away, Johnny.
Yes, sir. Man, I've been fully consumed by this Luka trade, and I have been saying that I really think it might be the most insane trade in I think it's certainly the most in NBA history, maybe the most in American sports history. But I had to figure it out. I had to actually put pen to paper, figure out if that's true. So here we go. We are going to rank the Luka trade on a scale of insanity, of craziness, of pure shock value against other trades in American sports history. Now, I am going to preface this by letting you people know, when I say American sports, what I mean is football and basketball. Do I watch baseball? In the playoffs, a little bit. Do I watch hockey? Not even once. So
you never
I
watch
really
hockey?
couldn't speak on that. No, I mean I've gone to like non-professional games or like semi-pro games. I've seen a Syracuse Crunch game here and there,
Okay.
but no, I'm not familiar with hockey. I think I've said this on the pod before, but if I haven't, let me reiterate. I can name 2 hockey players ever. I only know 2. I know Wayne Gretzky and Sidney Crosby. That's it.
Yep, because you mentioned that, and we had a whole debate on how you should know Alex Ovechkin too.
Yeah, and I don't. Yeah, we've talked about this, and I don't know him, and I didn't remember that even from that thing. I'm not in there on hockey. All right, and like, I was thinking about doing baseball. Like, I'm a little passively familiar with baseball. Like, could we have thrown like the Mookie Betts trade on there? Like, possibly. But I was just like, you know what? I just think it would be disingenuous that I couldn't really speak on it with any authority. So we are going to, I think, stick with just NBA, NFL trades all time. Some of these are ones we remember. Some of these are ones that are so important to the history of the sport that even if you didn't see it happen, you know about it. And we are just going to go through, talk about the history of this, and see how it stacks up against the pure lunacy that was the Luka and Anthony Davis trade. So,
Easiest one.
this is a trade. This is a thing about pretty much how insane, unpredictable, crazy, shocking the trade was.
Yep.
At the time. So I think the outcome of the trade should weigh on it less than how the trade was perceived when it happened. You know what I mean?
So more so what we thought at that moment, not looking in hindsight.
Right. Not as much hindsight, more about how crazy, shocking, something like that. So on our rankings, we have at the very bottom, predictable and reasonable. So these are the guys that we knew either have been wanting a trade for a long time, or it was running its course, or we all knew it was going to happen. We were just waiting for them to pull the trigger, or we went, oh, that's good for both people, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, this is the lowest end, not that crazy, not that noteworthy, but fine.
Right.
Next, we have that's pretty cool. Those are the ones that are like, all right, that's kind of, that's fun. Where it doesn't really shock you to your core, doesn't really change too much, but it's a fun little thing that happened. Didn't see that coming tier. That's the stuff that caught you by surprise. There wasn't a lot of groundwork laid for it. It kind of just happened, and you went, "Wow, okay, that's interesting. Let's see where this goes." And then we obviously have the league will never be the same tier. That is pretty earth-shattering, big shakeups in the league. Franchise guys, superstars, dudes that out of nowhere, when they're moved, when they go somewhere, tilts the scales of the league completely. And then pure lunacy. This is a convergence between tilting the scales of the league for the foreseeable future, between an insane decision-making process to get something there. A coming out of nowhere and blinding you, happening out of nowhere with no warning. All of this stuff combined together creates the pure lunacy tier that we have Luka and AD resting atop of. And we're going to say this list is going to be, we don't do this for all of them. This one I'm going to say is going to be left to right. So the right now, the furthest left in any given tier is the most crazy, or is the highest level of that tier, and then descending down. So the one on the furthest right of the predictable, reasonable tier is going to be the most predictable and reasonable, the least crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, all right. So we're on to that. So now we have a handful of these trades. I don't know if any of these stick out to you, but I want to start with an interesting one to throw into the league will never be the same. This is something that I think people forget. The decision was a trade. He did not sign with Miami in free agency. LeBron was traded to the Miami Heat. They let him choose where he was going to go, and he went to the Miami Heat for 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks. But I think that's the ultimate. The league will never be the same. Where it was earth-shattering, tilted the scales of the league, changed NBA history, but it wasn't lunacy. He wanted out, and Cleveland granted him out, and he went to a team that it made sense for him to go to.
I want to start with one that hits home. Russell Wilson.
Now remember, this is not hindsight. This is in the moment. How did we feel about this trade?
Didn't see that coming.
I agree. I thought you guys were going to get Aaron Rodgers.
Me too. That's why we got the coach we got. Because we were trying to get Aaron Rodgers, and next thing I know, Russell Wilson.
And honestly, I thought you guys were in a better position with Russ. I went, wow, that's even better, honestly.
I mean, who knows what it would have been like if we had Aaron. Oh, boy. We might still be picking for it.
My God. Yeah, it'd be worse. Worse, actually.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? Let's go. Let's get one in each tier. Get them out the way. I got that's pretty cool. Christian McCaffrey going to the Niners. That's pretty cool. You know, it's not something we necessarily saw coming, but it wasn't like earth shattering at the time. It was just like a fun little. All right, cool. You're on a new squad, Christian. Good luck.
While we're on the getting somebody in every tier, I think that the Shy and PG trade was predictable. I don't know if it was reasonable. I mean, at the time it seemed reasonable. Yes, I guess, but it's predictable. Ooh. I think because
man, I be honest with you, man.
Disagree?
I felt like that one was pure lunacy.
Well, here's what's tough though. So it's lunacy, yes, but like it's predictable though because Kawhi said he wasn't gonna go there if they didn't trade for PG, and Shy was their only asset.
Yeah, it's an interesting.
But it's also lunacy that Kawhi of all people went over there and held somebody hostage.
Well, the amount they traded for him. I mean, this is where it's like, how much hindsight do we want to put into it? That trade fundamentally altered the league for years to come because it gave OKC so many picks and a guy who turned out to be an MVP level player.
For 2 players that aren't even on the team anymore.
Right. Well, I mean, he went there for 5 firsts. Really... He went there. This was a trade. Paul George for 5 first-round picks, a bunch of pick swaps, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who turned into a top 5 player in the league. I mean, it was a hindsight. The league will never be the same, but in the moment.
Well, it's tough though because that trade still isn't finalized on.
It's not.
All those picks that come in from those picks are technically part of that trade as far as how we look at it.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, I want to put that in didn't see that coming because until we Do you remember Kawhi Gate when like we didn't know where Kawhi was going to go? We knew he was going to get traded, but we didn't know where.
We honestly were thinking Lakers possibly.
It was literally between Lakers and going back to Toronto. And then it ended up being the Clippers, and he had secretly put together this entire backroom deal with Steve Ballmer. This is when we find
out who Kawhi really was, because Kawhi was just the quiet guy before this. He was fun guy. And then all of a sudden we're like, whoa, wait a minute now. He's really
I think I want to put this at the top of didn't see that coming.
Okay.
You know? Because it is lunacy, but in the moment we didn't think that. We thought, all right, they're taking a big swing. Let's see it.
James Harden to the Nets?
That's James Harden to the Nets.
Okay, well, he forced his way out. Like,
are we
debating the fact that it was a trade or where he went?
It was. This one's an interesting one. I threw it on there exclusively because, honestly, I want to go predictable, reasonable. In the sense that he was literally throwing games to get traded to the Nets.
He showed up fat, bro.
Yeah, showed up fat.
He was hanging with little baby. Posting pictures
was literally intentionally would walk out on the court and throw the ball out of bounds. So that, like, that was what I mean. His behavior was pure lunacy, but the fact he got traded was completely predictable and reasonable.
He gave them no choice.
Truly. So I think that's a good one.
Man, we got AB out here like 3 times.
AB, you said?
Yeah.
I got one AB. Just the one AB right here.
Oh, Randy Moss. Randy Moss.
That's Randy. Yeah. We've got
one AB. He played for a lot of teams.
AB also forced his way out. I kind of want to go right here.
You know what's crazy, too?
AB was done, causing a stink. Very reasonable.
I saw the best breakdown of AB and why everything happened that I've ever seen. One of them, Shannon Sharp, bro. He broke it down, and I relate, and I know because I felt this way. But he said when AB posted that video about him talking to John Gruden or whatever on the phone and his Instagram, and he was in his house, and he hung up or whatever, and it was like, free me. And he was clearly the problem. Every single person was like, yeah, AB, you tell him, AB, and so like it just fed this delusion in his head that he was right. And so he literally, because like nobody was like, bro, AB, what are you fucking doing? They were just like, yeah, free AB, free, and the whole fandom and the popularity. He was like, nah, I am right.
Yeah, that one went crazy. I'll put him at the top of this one.
Didn't he like freeze himself in the hyperbaric chamber or whatever?
He froze his foot.
Foot injury.
Yeah, he froze his foot. He came to practice in a hot air balloon. He called the owner of the Raiders a racist.
I wasn't lying. He wasn't lying about that.
No, I mean, it was all kinds of insanity. No, the owner, not the coach. No, not Gruden. He called.
I bet my money Mark Davis is racist. I bet my money.
Mark Davis, probably. I don't know.
Look at him, bro. Look at a picture.
Yeah, he's a creature. He's a creature. He's
gotta be racist.
Okay, I've got another pure lunacy.
You mean the team that needed an adult in the locker room?
Of course. They needed an adult in the locker room. And they got your boy, Deshaun. That pure lunacy. They mortgaged their entire future for a guy that was a known sex criminal, paid him the biggest contract in NFL history, the first $300 million fully guaranteed contract, and set their franchise back a decade. Pure lunacy.
And their old quarterback is leading a team to the playoffs as we speak every year.
Yeah. Their former quarterback in the past 2 years
I think Pro Bowl
is averaging the best passing yards in the league over the past 2 years. So
yeah, they gave Baker was. I love Baker. They should have never did that to him. They deserve whatever they got from that.
Yeah, pretty darn crazy. All right, let's go with this guy right here. As Kareem, the league will never be the same.
Okay. Kareem
going to the Lakers alters the course of league history. Fundamentally changes it. This was pretty. I mean, I think it's one of the most historically important trades. Now, mind you, there wasn't too much insanity surrounding it. Kareem had made a statement to the Milwaukee Bucks after having won a championship with them and a handful of MVPs. Just let them know, look, man, I can't live in Milwaukee. He's like, the team is fine. I like playing with Big O. It was all cool. This is all well and good. I can't live in Milwaukee. This is not where I'm meant to be. I need to get out of here, and you guys got to just do me this solid. I gave you a championship. I gave you a bunch of good years. You got to get me out of here. And they let him go. They traded him over to the Lakers, and the league was never the same because the best player in the league got traded to go team up with the best rookie in the league. And instantly we knew something crazy was going to happen.
Is that I'm trying to see here. Oh, John Elway.
John Elway, of course.
I think that's got to be the league will never be the same, because that was the first precedent that we saw established, at least as far as I know in history, that a quarterback said they're not going to go to a team that picked them. Everybody like literally shit themselves. They're like, can he even do that? Can he say I'm not going to play for you? Like, he's got a contract he's got to sign. He did not play a single down for the Colts. He went to the Denver Broncos. So the league never been the same because obviously precedent's established. Since then, we've had a couple quarterbacks that have said, I'm not going to play for you.
Yeah, I'm going to say that slightly. I think Elway's effect, because it laid the pathway for Eli as well, I think that ranks him slightly above Kareem on the league will never be the same chart.
Definitely not ahead of LeBron. I don't know if a single person will be ahead of the LeBron on the league will never be the same. Unless you had like KD on here, which was like 2.0 of the LeBron shit.
Yeah. I'm going to go on the didn't see that coming. I almost want to put this in pure lunacy just because this was D-Hop for David Johnson. It just wasn't
Well, David was good back then, though, wasn't he?
Right. It wasn't that earth-shattering, but it did just come out of nowhere. It's like nobody thought it was going to alter the league to any level. Like, they weren't important enough players.
Right.
As far as, in the NFL, like a receiver and a running back, like, okay. It was a big deal, sort of, but it did come out of nowhere. And if we are adding hindsight, like, both players, like Diop had a couple more good years, but didn't do a ton, and David disappeared. He went to Houston, and no one ever saw him again.
Not Arizona. D-Hop was the last good D-Hop we saw.
Yeah.
The Chiefs D-Hop. That Hail Mary. That Hail Mary against the Bills.
All right, I'm going to put this Chris Paul to the Clips at the top of didn't see that coming.
Mainly because that wasn't the first trade that was agreed upon.
Right. And I'm like, I either wanted to put him at the top of didn't see that coming or at the bottom of the league will never be the same. In the sense that it was fully blocked by David Stern.
Because the NBA owned the team.
Yeah, David Stern blocked Chris Paul from going to the Lakers and teaming up with Kobe. So they fully blocked that from happening. And instead, Chris Paul goes to the Clippers, creates Lob City, wins nothing. And that same year, and I'm going to put that in the that's pretty cool tier, Dwight Howard joined the Lakers. Remember that? Remember Dwight Howard and Steve Nash went to the Lakers?
There was going to be a super team.
Went up with Kobe?
Steve Nash, Kobe, and Howard were going to win chips, bro.
Yeah. And then everyone got injured. Everyone got injured. And it just didn't work. But that could have been Chris Paul, Kobe, and Dwight Howard. But instead, they didn't let Chris Paul go there. So it was Steve Nash, Kobe, and Dwight Howard. Which, in another life,
Heck,
But
we might not even know who Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan are.
yeah, I mean, Dwight Howard going there was pretty cool. If it was Dwight Howard and Chris Paul, the league would never be the same.
Oh, because you're right. We'd have Lob City in LA, but it'd be for the Lakers.
Right. It would be, I mean, just crazy.
Can you imagine a CP3 to Kobe Bryant alley-oop? Oh, my God.
I'm going to throw this guy up here. We've got Kawhi and DeMar DeRozan, the Spurs-Raptors trade, where Pop just shipped Kawhi off to Toronto. Kawhi demanded a trade. He was mad at Pop. He didn't like how he handled his injuries. Didn't like how Tony Parker was talking about him, all of this stuff. Said, I feel disrespected. I would like out. And Pop shipped him to another country. and then in return, the Raptors shipped them, the San Antonio Spurs, their franchise cornerstone. I'm going to put this above. You know what? I'm going to put this right there. I'm moving D-Hop and David Johnson down. It wasn't as big. It wasn't big enough to put him up at the top up there.
Jared Goff, Matt Stafford.
Yes, Jared Goff, Matt Stafford. What do we think there?
So there's two things you could go with this. I mean, I feel like we had rumors that Sean McVay wanted Matt Stafford for a little bit before.
What we certainly knew is that Sean McVay wanted to get rid of Jared Goff.
But I feel like, do you feel like it could be the league will never be the same moment, though? Because that launched the Lions into their success, that they're now one of the best teams in the league. And it also got the Rams a ring and launched Sean McVay into his status of one of the best coaches, if not the best coach in the league.
Yeah.
And both teams with those two quarterbacks on their own team were not super competitive outside of that 1 year Jared Goff went to the Super Bowl. And then all you do is flip-flop, and now they're both great.
It did. I think its bottom of the league will never be the same. I think it did. It rewrote how we look at both of these teams forever. You know, they put together the most successful Detroit Lions team ever, whether or not they won anything.
Yeah.
It's like this iteration of the Detroit Lions is more successful than the Detroit Lions have ever been.
No, they love Jared Goff in Detroit.
Yeah. And then obviously Matt Stafford and McVay speaks for itself, what they pulled off. And let's add on to that. I want to go at the top of predictable, reasonable. So the least predictable, reasonable out of all of them. But, closer to that's pretty cool. But I think we go right there. I bundled two together. This is Von Miller and Jalen Ramsey coming and joining up with the team, with the Rams, to make a run at the Super Bowl.
I forgot Ramsey was on that team.
Yeah. They brought in two veterans
and
to make a run at the Super Bowl. And they had Odell by the end. Yeah, mid-season they had Odell. Yeah, but I figured those two were the guys that we felt like could make a difference.
Yeah. Oh, they did.
I don't think anyone thought Odell would make a difference. And mind you, he did have a Super Bowl touchdown, so I'm not going to poo-poo him too much.
Nah, dude. They said he might have won MVP if he didn't get hurt. He was going off.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, towards ACL.
No, I think Von Miller, though, huge. I mean, Jalen Ramsey obviously speaks for himself, but I think it shows something that Von Miller led the Broncos to the Super Bowl and then also helped the Rams get to one, too.
Yeah, I think we knew that was what the Rams' goal was that season, was that they were trading everything to get stars on a short-term deal to make a run at the Super Bowl that season. That's why I put it under predictable.
They made shirts for his name, Les Snead. It was F them picks. They had
shirts. Yeah, of course. F them picks.
F them picks.
So this is a historical one that I'm gonna throw. This is just how this was perceived at the time. I looked into this, and it's very funny in hindsight to see how it worked out. But this one, Rodman to the Bulls, at the time, was seen as pure lunacy. Was seen as you are destroying Michael Jordan's career. You are bringing in. There was a guy who wrote an article that said, you know who'd be better to join the Bulls? Charles Manson, Jeffrey Dahmer, Muammar Gaddafi. Listed a bunch of just terrible mass murderers and said that they would be better to join the Bulls than Dennis Rodman.
Wow.
At the time, Dennis Rodman getting traded to the Bulls was seen as a massive screw up by the Bulls and Phil Jackson. It ended up working well. He led the league in rebounds those 3 years and won 3 championships. Turned out okay, actually, I think.
Yeah, it turned out well. He was on the Bad Boy Pistons.
Yeah. Or 2 championships, sorry.
Is that AD,
had a nice
AD for them Young Bucks in LA?
Yes, sir.
At the time,
I think it's
what
like
do you
one
think?
of these.
What do you think?
It's one of those things where it's like, at the time,
I honestly thought it was kind of crazy. I wouldn't have given up those players for AD.
It seemed crazy. It did kind of change. It changed LeBron's career.
And Lonzo, Brandon Ingram,
Kyle
Kuzma. They're all
Kuzma stayed. It was
oh, you're right.
I mean, it changed Kuzma's career because it made him an
after.
NBA championship. It was Josh Hart was the other guy.
Yes.
Yeah, Josh Hart was the other guy, which is crazy. You forget Josh Hart was a part of that. He's just done so much since then.
Do you think they would have been better off at this current point having kept those players through their development right now?
Hell no.
No.
Hell no.
I mean, they wouldn't have gotten Luka for.
You'd have
players.
a guy. You'd have a
I'm
ball
saying
dominant
before Luka.
Yeah, no, you'd have a ball dominant forward in Brandon Ingram. You'd have a guy who can't walk in Lonzo Ball. I mean, Hart's a good hustle player, but does he reach the same level without playing in that in that New Orleans system that was so run and gun, that was so hustle to stay on the court? Does he get that recognition eventually? I don't know.
Right, that's true.
Like, no, I mean, I think it did change the course of LeBron's career. It stamped AD as a legitimate bona fide Hall of Famer, no doubt. And it set all those guys off on a completely different path. Whereas I don't think, I don't think the Lakers would have been better off keeping them. I'll tell you what. I really don't think that.
Okay.
All right, let's get another couple pure lunacies. We got to put this one up there. Mike Ditka and Ricky Williams. I mean, just insane. For anyone that doesn't know, this was Mike Ditka comes into the Saints and trades the Saints' entire draft, the whole 1 through 7, every single pick, to trade up for pick 5 in the draft and take running back Ricky Williams, who could never stay on the field because he liked weed too much. He traded the entire draft and then also 2 more picks in the next year, fundamentally altering the future of the Saints for a player that, and at the time it was crazy. At the time they made these guys dress up and get married for a photo shoot. I mean, I think we have to put it up there at pure lunacy. Just no one's ever done that since. And there's good reason why. He traded his whole draft for 1 running back.
Which would be bad if he was good, let alone the fact that he didn't pan out.
Right, who is doo-doo. And you know who else traded a lot for 1 running back? That would be the Vikings for Herschel Walker, who traded away, let me get the exact number. It was something like 8 total draft picks to the Cowboys for Herschel Walker. Those 8 draft picks ended up turning into their 3 Super Bowl victory roster. those 8 draft picks paved the way for the Cowboys to win 3 Super Bowls in the 90s. And Herschel Walker never rushed for 1,000 yards again.
Wow.
Just really swung for it. And I would feel worse if Herschel Walker wasn't a lunatic right-wing nut job.
Didn't he run for office?
Yeah, he did. Fortunately, he did not win.
Better luck next time.
Yeah, so got a handful left. Anything jump out to you, Cooj?
Kyrie, Boston.
Kyrie, Boston. Remember that one for IT? For MVP candidate, Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder. That was an interesting one.
We thought it would change the league in the sense we thought he'd help JT and Jaylen Brown get a ring. And Gordon Hayward, they built a super team.
Gordon Hayward also went there, yeah.
Broke his leg in the first 2 minutes of his career there.
Well, and this was young Jason Tatum. This was, second year in the league, Jason Tatum. Maybe first year. Was he a rookie when they made that trade?
Yeah.
I think so. I think that was rookie Jason Tatum. Teamed up with Kyrie.
In hindsight, it was bad trade. But guess who would they even get for him? Who would they give up for Kyrie?
They gave up Isaiah Thomas, who was coming off of an Eastern Conference appearance and an MVP finalist season. Yeah, he was injured. And then Jay Crowder and a pick or two, I think. So, but I think it was more crazy that Kyrie had demanded a trade to leave LeBron.
Right.
That he wanted to prove himself as a number one. And at the moment, we thought, yeah, that's actually, I think I want to put it in didn't see that coming. Top of didn't see that coming.
Well, because, we were like, why? He literally just left LeBron. We were like, what the heck?
Yeah. That's the top of didn't see that coming. Because, right, he just went out and said, I'm done. I don't want anything to do with LeBron.
And everybody was like, are they beefing? What's going on?
Yeah. It was very weird. Let's go. I go with Jimmy G getting traded to the Niners originally from being the Patriots backup. I think we go predictable, reasonable, that he was seen as a good asset, and we knew that Bill might have wanted to stick with him, but we knew Robert Kraft did not. And you weren't going to give up Tom Brady.
Right.
So we knew he was going to get traded somewhere. Goes to San Fran for a second round pick.
Yeah, through his good his good buddy Mike Shanahan's son of Bone.
Exactly. And they went to a Super Bowl. Good job.
They did. We thought Jimmy was going to be the one.
Yeah. And don't forget, on that Super Bowl trip, on that journey, there was a game where
he was horrendous, wasn't he?
No, there was a game where they only had him throw the ball. What was it? 6 times in the whole game.
Yeah. Yep.
And they just had Raheem Mostert run it down the throat of the opposing defense. Yeah, it didn't turn out great. And at the time, we kind of all saw it coming, but I wanted to throw it there because it was news, and it was a big deal at the time. It just wasn't the biggest deal.
Right.
And I think at the top of that's pretty cool. We're gonna go the swap of Westbrook and Chris Paul from the OKC to the Rockets. Remember that one? When it was originally Chris Paul and Harden had this amazing dynamic duo that almost took down the 73-9 or the 73 win Warriors. Or not even the 73 win Warriors. That was the KD Warriors that they almost.
But Chris Paul got hurt.
Right, Chris Paul got hurt. Then they went on to miss 32 threes in a row, 35 threes in a row.
Something terrible, a record. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that game in Game 7. That was terrible.
You know what's hilarious? These NBA trades, man, these trades all coincide with moments I remember in my life. I remember when DeMar DeRozan got traded for Kawhi, I was literally at Green Lakes working I was like driving the fucking truck. I like popped out the back and I was like, oh shit, they just did this trade. But when I was when Russell Westbrook got traded, that was back when I was with for lack of better terms, that was when I was with Anna. And I was sitting there and we were just like chilling. And I got the notification. It was the craziest shit in my mind. I thought that Russell Westbrook and James Harden were about to run shit for years.
Yeah, it was worse.
It was worse.
It was worse. Actually, Chris Paul and James Harden were kind of a perfect combo. You know, and funny enough, James Harden and Russell Westbrook didn't really work that well together. At least the versions of them that they were
on
at that point in their career.
I mean, off the court, They looked great together. They were dancing and shit together.
They were friends, yeah. I mean, they were, they played in OKC together earlier in their careers, and it worked fine. But two really ball-dominant guys with very different methods of getting to their shot, but both methods included holding onto the ball for 20 full seconds at any possession. Just didn't work. 24. Yeah, Chris Paul and James Harden might have been one of the best duos that never did anything. It really worked, but hey.
Mike D'Antoni?
Gonna stick with it. Yeah, Mike D'Antoni, lunatic. That guy could just go pure lunacy just across the board. Just like shoot 83s a game. A couple of them will go in at least. I'm gonna go. Didn't see that coming. For bottom, I didn't see that coming. Khalil Mack getting shipped out from Oakland at the time to the Bears when Gruden came in. That was weird. You know what I mean? It was just kind of dumb. Why'd you ship off your best player for no reason?
For no reason.
You wanted to. It's one of those weird, like, I'm the new guy. I want to start from scratch and build my own team. So I'm just going to ship out the best player.
Right.
Very.
You imagine him and Crosby.
That
would have been crazy.
You're saying him and yeah, Max Crosby.
If he never left.
That would be a pretty crazy combo. But everything happens for a reason. It was just a very weird trade. What were you gonna say?
Bottom right. Who we got there?
Right here, that's KG and Paul Pierce on the Nets.
Oh, okay. Well, hindsight, we gotta really like block hindsight out of this because this is a big difference in what we think now and what we thought then.
I think it does go bottom of pure lunacy.
But I think it is lunacy either way because
at the time it was seen in the opposite direction. It was seen that the Celtics were lunatics for giving up two perennial All-Stars who won them a championship for just a bunch of picks. Actually, in hindsight, it was pure lunacy on the Nets' part, but at the time, it was still seen as a lunatic move.
Yeah.
And the team. Yeah, it was just really crazy. I mean, no one had seen something like that before. Such a massive trade for big name players, who for just picks in return. We could power through. I will throw. That's pretty cool. We're gonna go. That's pretty cool for Wilt going and joining up with Jerry West and Elgin Baylor in the middle of his prime, or towards the end of his prime, but still was an excellent player. Just some context behind this one. I had to put it on there because at the time it was massive in the NBA. It didn't fundamentally alter the NBA, but it did give that group of guys, it did allow Jerry West to get his chip and Wilt to win one with him. So a very big deal for history, and all was born out of just a stalled out contract negotiation in the, at the time, Philadelphia Warriors between them and Wilt. that just sent him over to LA and etched him into LA fame. But it was a very big deal at the time. That's the oldest one on our list, but I had to throw it on there quick. But let's go with a different LA trade.
Okay.
Maybe the most important, aside from Kareem, in all of LA's history.
You don't think Kobe's bigger than Kareem?
I don't know if
Not at the time, obviously.
yeah, not at the time, right? Yeah, I'd say probably the Kobe trade is bigger for the history than Kareem's.
Right. But for this, obviously, we're gonna go with at that time.
Let's go like high didn't see that coming, I think. Where Kobe, for anyone that doesn't know, was a rookie who hadn't played a game in the NBA. Actually, also had not played a game in college. He was a fresh blood rookie, middle of the first round pick that the Lakers traded their star center, Vlade Divac, to the Hornets in return for this unproven young kid who was just a raw, talented guy. It was a huge risk on the Lakers' part that maybe no normal person would have ever done it, but Jerry West had the vision. And it turned into maybe one of the most important players in NBA history being born out of it. So I think that trade probably in the moment wasn't as shocking as Kyrie demanding out of Cleveland with LeBron.
No,
but
not as shocking, no.
Not as shocking, but it was surprising. It was ballsy. And in hindsight, it was one of the most important trades in NBA history as far as changing the league. Might be the most. It might be the most important trade in NBA history. Except, yeah, it might be. Am I crazy? I mean, is it the decision might be a little bit better? LeBron to Miami might be a little bit more, but man, the league's so different if Kobe goes to Charlotte.
Yeah. Do you think Charlotte's ever good?
I don't know.
We might think of Michael Jordan as an owner differently.
Yeah, I mean, well, he doesn't. Michael Jordan doesn't buy into Charlotte until late 2000s.
Well, Kobe's still
as
there.
The owner. What?
Well, Kobe would have still been
Kobe
there.
would still be there. Theoretically, maybe he would have still been there. Who knows how different it would have been.
You're right. He might have been a every free agency player getting new deal, new team.
We're gonna go another one for the time. I'm gonna put it right next to Will. That's Moses Malone. For anyone who doesn't know, who same deal. Contract stalled out with a new cheap ownership group in Houston, and they didn't want to pay Moses Malone. I think it was. I believe it was $2 million a year. They didn't want to pay him. And Moses Malone went on to win the finals MVP and the regular season MVP in the same season the next year with the Sixers when they shipped him away.
You said $2 million?
Yeah, $2 million, which, at the time it was the
I mean, inflation, factor that in.
Early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, around then. So, a little bit of inflation, but yeah, they didn't want to pay him and they suffered for it. Now, mind you, the player they got in return, the Houston Rockets got in return, was a center from, a younger center from Philly, who they ended up trading for a draft pick, which they then used to draft Hakeem Olajuwon. So it ended up working out long term for the Rockets as well. But, that's pretty cool. Moses Malone, rest in peace. We got two dead guys right next to each other. Actually, there's another one. Three dead former MVPs, all right here. hanging out.
Jeez.
Yep.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, gentlemen. All right, we've got let's go Randy. What do we think about Randy? For going from Oakland Raiders to maybe the best team ever assembled.
I mean, is Tom Brady getting a number one for the first time in his career a league will never be the same moment?
I think it was the first time that Brady looked like the best quarterback in the league.
I mean, yeah.
That was
record-breaking year.
Yeah. Record-breaking year. Maybe, and like I said, his addition to that team maybe created. I mean, if we take away the fact that they didn't win the Super Bowl, that might be the best team that's ever been assembled. You know, they came up a little short at the end of the Super Bowl off a miracle catch by the Giants. But
I was happy at the time. In hindsight, I kind of wish they did win that.
Yeah, I mean, now Randy never got a Super Bowl. Very sad. But yeah, I think I like that. It was his addition to the Patriots was what finally showed what Tom Brady was capable of, and like cemented him as actually one of the best players in the league. We're gonna go right here for Favre. You think Favre, for context, had retired, and then the Packers had said, okay, Favre's gone. Finally, Rodgers is our new quarterback. Favre comes back to the Packers and goes, you know what? I changed my mind. I actually don't want to retire. And the Packers went, well, Brett, we gave your job away already, so I don't know what to tell you. He goes, well, I don't want to retire. So they shipped him over to the Jets for I believe a fourth round pick. A fourth round pick. So it was predictable and reasonable. We knew that the Packers wanted to start Rodgers for a while. Favre had retired. Changed his mind. What are you going to do? But it's pretty cool, though. Pretty cool thing. So I put it at the top. The closer to pretty cool end of predictable, reasonable. So what do we have left here?
AJ Brown down there?
That's AJ Brown. Draft day AJ Brown trade for the pick that turned into Treylon Burks.
Ooh. Oh, we were like, yeah, he could replace him.
Nope. Yeah. Here's a fun little stat for you I saw the other day. AJ Brown, since that trade, has gone to more Super Bowls than Treylon Burks has caught a touchdown. Since that trade, AJ Brown has more Super Bowl appearances.
Was AJ on the first one 2 years ago?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
AJ Brown has more Super Bowl appearances than Treylon Burks has touchdowns. Just for the record. Yep. Pretty crazy.
What was the news like then, though? Was there a lot of news about it? Was it a surprise?
It happened right in the middle of the draft.
So it was probably just out of nowhere.
It was out of nowhere. It's fully at the lowest I think we have to go. High didn't see that coming. Because
but it did give Jalen his number one that he needed too.
Yeah.
That number one that every quarterback gets when they finally become. You think about it: Tom Brady, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, C.J. Stroud. I mean, he had number one from the beginning, but you know what I'm saying? Like when they get that court and they all get that receiver, they just go crazy.
Yeah, it really just came out of nowhere. And if you remember too, Vrabel was not happy about it. Vrabel wanted him still. And was very upset that they made the trade. And also, I can imagine Vrabel probably was thinking, are you stupid? You just let Howie Roseman fleece you. You idiots. Howie Roseman is smarter than you. Don't try to deal with him. He will fleece you every time. Like, my God. Yeah, if I'm the Browns, I'm not trading Myles Garrett to the Eagles because I just know that Howie Roseman's going to fleece me.
Yeah, when he calls, don't pick up.
Honestly, this one's gonna be a little crazy, but I think we got to put the league will never be the same. This is Shaq getting traded to Miami
I mean,
from the Lakers.
D Wade. I mean, that's part of the NBA story.
Not only does it define Shaq and D Wade's career, it also was the moment that the Lakers chose. They had to choose Shaq or Kobe. And both, I mean, the Lakers were permanently defined by that choice. It was probably the right choice. And Shaq's career went on to immediately win again with a different guy. His career was defined by that choice and all fundamentally altered. The NBA was permanently altered by that one choice. Pretty massive. Yeah, pretty massive. About as massive as it gets. So I like that placement there. And now, first things first, we're just going to get this one out of the way. This is Steve Young getting traded. Steve Young started his career coming out of the UFL, goes to the Buccaneers, plays like shit for 2 years, and the Bucs end up drafting Vinny Testaverde and trade Steve Young over to the Niners as a backup because they have no interest in keeping him around. As far as how reasonable it was, I mean, that's about as low as it gets. I'll go right one above James Harden because there's nothing more reasonable than trading a guy who's literally throwing games. So that's not as important, but I wanted to throw it in there to just set the foundation for how Steve Young's career started. And then you got Joe Montana on the Chiefs, which once again, very similar to Shaq and Kobe, was a moment that a franchise made the decision between two Hall of Famers.
I mean, you could argue it set them up because if they went with Joe, they wouldn't have had the duration of the streak they had. Because then that allowed them to slide right from Steve Young to Jeff Garcia. As opposed to Joe Montana, Steve Young is gone, and now Jeff Garcia isn't there yet, and you need somebody else.
Yeah, I think bottom of league will never be the same because Joe Montana's legacy was already defined. It opened up the door for Steve Young to have a Hall of Fame career and for obviously the Niners to get their 5th ring. And you know, I don't think it was as insane as Shaq and Kobe because there was a big age difference. Oh, yeah. Montana was towards the end of his career. He was injured a lot. He was injured to the point of giving Steve Young enough opportunity to prove that he was a starting quarterback. So, but I do think it is a fundamentally altering moment where a dynasty chose to get rid of their most important player ever. You know, I mean, that is. And they were right to do it. That's the craziest part. They probably could not have won another Super Bowl with Joe Montana, but they pulled it off with Steve Young. So, shout out. And last but not least, we have the trade that I've been hearing this Luka trade compared to the most. One that in my head doesn't seem as crazy even a little bit, but this is the one that I keep hearing people say. Is the Pau Gasol trade to the Lakers in the middle of the 08 season. From Memphis, ended up turning into a Marc Gasol. Ended up turning into Marc Gasol, so it was the draft rights to Marc Gasol. So it was kind of two brothers getting traded for each other, which is interesting. But I feel like I can't imagine that being that earth-shattering. But people are acting like it was. What do you know about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit before my time, my man. No, I would say, I don't know. It doesn't seem that earth-shattering. I honestly feel like Marc Gasol is a better player. I mean, I'm
all-time
probably
it's definitely
underrating
Powell.
Powell. I mean, I didn't see
It's
Powell in his glory
all
days
time.
like
It's
that.
Powell. Yeah, I mean, this at the time, Mark was a rookie.
Do you think that Pau Gasol had any year better than 2019, 2020 Marc Gasol?
I mean, like early on in Memphis, his
Oh, you're
stats
right.
were
I never
crazy.
saw Pau in Memphis. Yeah, my
Yeah,
bad. I only ever
his
saw him as a
stats were
number two.
crazy early on in Memphis, and then obviously he was playing number two. I think Powell is criminally underrated. Like people will put up photos of some of those like Kobe Lakers teams with Powell, and they'll be like, "Look at what Kobe had to win with." Like, bro, Powell is like a Hall of Fame level player. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, Powell, I believe Powell is in the Hall of Fame.
No, he's a Hall of Fame person too. I'm pretty sure he's Kobe's one of Kobe's children's godfather.
Yeah, I believe he is too. He definitely at least acts as one if he isn't legally. Yeah, I think we can go top of that's pretty cool. Especially considering that Powell ended up being a brother for brother trade. I think that's fun.
No, that is.
But otherwise, I think this is good. Is there any alterations you want to make to this list? I know we spent a lot of time on it, but I just wanted to put into perspective, like, is there anything on this list that you think even stacks up a little bit to this Luka
trade? No. Nothing. I've never seen. This shocked me more than LeBron going to the Heat. This shocked me more than KD signing with the Warriors. That's not even on here, but this shocked me more than any moment I've ever witnessed or heard of.
Yeah, because all of the other ones, no matter how monumentous they were, all of them had a runway to them. It was like LeBron's decision might have been a bigger deal and more earth-shattering and like a better player moving, you know what I mean? And like more important to NBA history. But this is about like shocking and like craziness and all of that. And it's like, we knew though, he dragged it out. We knew what was going to happen.
Right.
So I think it's like top of the league will never be the same. And Kareem requested out and Shaq and Kobe, we knew that they were going to split up and we just didn't know who they were going to pick. A lot of these ones that were surprising. Kyrie, it's like, it was surprising, but at the time that was seen as a pretty good, reasonable trade for Kyrie asking out.
Right. And
yeah, it's just nothing. The closest thing of how crazy of a trade it is Deshaun Watson, but for a completely different reason. For the fact that you never even should have come close to trading for a guy like that. But Luka, it's just, you should never have traded away a guy like that. And you know what, man? It just occupied a space in my mind to the point where I went crazy trying to find any possible trade that's stacked up. And nothing does.
Everyone's been doing the trade in the 2K game, and they said 2K won't even take that trade.
No, yeah, 2K thinks it's a crazy trade. 2K thinks it's like an insulting trade. So, look, folks, you're witnessing history in real time.
In real time.
All of these crazy trades, nothing even comes close. To be honest,
gets its own tier.
It gets its own tier.
Well, the Mavs accomplished something then.
Yep.
They got their own tier.
You can't even really read it. It doesn't matter. Bang.
Bang.
That was the craziest, most insane, unforgivably stupid trade that's ever happened. Ever.
And we have yet to see them play a game since, so
we'll see.
I'm sure as time goes on, we'll have a little more understanding, right? If anything happens with Luka, God, the Mavs better hope AD does not get hurt.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, he is minorly hurt right now.
He's minorly hurt all the time.
He's always
he's
nursing
never
a little.
not minorly hurt. He's just a matter of if he can play or not.
He's always nursing a little something. But all right, that was a longer, deeper than film.
But man,
that was a longer, deeper than film than normal. But
it was an emergency deeper than the film because I said last week we're gonna alternate deeper than the film. The people want to know, but we had this trade happen. And I immediately said, nah, we need to compare the craziest, the most insane, the most shocking trades all time. So we had to do DTF. It wouldn't be the same next week. But with that, we also had a lot of news we had to get into. A lot of breaking news, a lot of trades. I'm sure more will heat up, but you guys know we got the Super Bowl coming up next week. But we're going to wrap up, Johnny. We're going to hold off on the people want to know. We're going to go hammer that hard next time. We're going to not do DTF next time unless some other crazy shit happens and we have another emergency DTF. We got to do. If so, we'll let you know. There's no way that next week there could be as much breaking news as this week, is there?
I sure hope not.
It's not possible. We have to trade deadline in 3 days, so Jimmy might be gone.
I don't think Jimmy's getting moved.
Nah, bro.
I think
Pat Riley has put his foot down, bro.
Yeah, not stupid. Pat Riley's not stupid. What I mean is more Pat Riley is too hard-headed.
No, yeah.
He's stubborn.
He's the kind of dude that he could get the best offer in the world, and he just don't take it because he wants to piss Jimmy off.
Yeah, he just he looks at it as like, I am Pat fucking Riley. How dare you?
I've been in this league since the Showtime Lakers, and you're gonna tell me
I am a fixture of the NBA. This NBA. I mean, my God, yeah. And I get it, and he deserves to feel that way. Shout out Pat Riley. He's allowed to. He's earned it.
The only dude to come down from the office and say, "Fuck it, I'm coaching."
Yeah.
And then
Greg Popovich did that too.
Forget I said that.
Greg Popovich also did do that.
Then again, those are kind of like two of the same. They're very similar people.
Very similar guys, and both of them are allowed to do it. I mean, that's what Pop did the opposite.
They're the only two dudes to have the culture established.
Yeah, Pop did the opposite to Kawhi. Kawhi was like, "I want out. I'm not happy here," and he goes, "All right, I'm going to ship you to another country." Enjoy the frozen tundra.
Better learn Canadian, eh?
Yeah, get ready to learn Canadian. Oh shit!
But we're gonna wrap that up. We're gonna wrap it up. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Couch Coach the Podcast, featuring an all-star staff of the best to never do it. Remember, without a couch, you're just a coach. Without a coach, it's just a couch. But with both, you're one of us. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and if you got some shit to say, leave a comment. It's Johnny, it's Kuji, your favorite couch coaches. See you guys next week.
Next episode is going to be a Patrick Mahomes glazing sesh. Whole time. Get ready for it. Hopefully. Glazed. Otherwise, we're going to be crying.
All glazed, no donuts.
Yes, sir.